Live from Deathray Studios in the sunny West Valley of Phoenix, it's Late Night with the Davey. Appearing on tonight's show, YouTube content creator, Frank's Media and Reviews. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host, Davey Deathray. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Davey Deathray here, and welcome to a brand new episode of Late Night with the Davey, our weekly live talk show where we bring on content creators, authors, musicians, filmmakers, someone that is out there in the creative space doing something with their talents. Yeah, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Looks like we've got some people jumping into the chat here before we got going. We've got Big Rod first in line. Got to have somebody that's first in line. I love it. It's rare that somebody beats Lamontre, so it's really cool to see Big Rod in there. We got Ryan Swayze in the chat. What's happening, Ryan? Great to see you. And Necro Mechanimal. Guys, if you don't follow Necro on Insta, go check him out. He puts together some really fun, I don't even know what to, like, for us with Movie Date with Davey and Kate, he's done a couple, like, thumbnails, like alternative thumbnails that are hilarious. Totally cracked me up. I think he did one for the late night episode with Sledgehammer Horror and Christian from Planet CHH that every now and then, like when I just need to have my spirits lifted, I go take a look at that. Really fun stuff. So go give him a gander. And if you're, in the creative space as a content creator here on YouTube, make friends with the guy because he can put together some great stuff for you. We've got Fachi Cinema in the chat. What's happening, Fachi? Davey, my steamy, dreamy Arizona McMuffin. It's all true. It's all true, Matt. I'm all of that. And we got Eli Cortez, our amazing subscriber. Eli, oh my gosh, Eli, I'm still on cloud 9 from the, unboxing I did of that package that you sent my way. That was incredible. Just wrapping up editing on, if you guys missed it, last week, I believe it was it the end of the late night episode, Eli, where you had asked about, or maybe it was one of the Sunday lives or something. You had asked about a PO box. I was like, I don't have one. No one cares anyways. I'll give you my address. No big deal. Eli said he was going to send me a copy of Halloween Ends on Steelbook because he had an extra, and then he threw some other goodies in there. And when I opened up the box there was a box within the box, and it had the first 4 seasons of Tales from the Crypt. I just about lost my shit in the middle of the stream because I adore that show and I don't have any copies, any physical copies to watch it. So yeah, Eli, I'm going to go through every single episode. I've already watched the first couple for review, and then I'm wrapping up editing on the very first episode, which is a really damn good one. I mean, if you guys like William Sadler, yeah, he's in that very first episode of Tales from the Crypt. Great stuff. Thank you so much, Eli. Really appreciate you, man. And everyone's saying hello to everybody else. This is great. All right. Let's see here. We got Gory Tiger in the chat. What's happening, Gory? Great to see you. Holy cow. It just went from like 2 or 3 people in here to about 7. That's great to see. I always like to see who stumbles in that first 10 minutes right before we bring the guest on and everything. Let's get the chat loaded up. Really excited to have Frank on from Frank's Media and Reviews. We're going to talk about physical media. We'll talk about horror, and you guys know how this goes. The conversation meanders just like a late night talk show. So it's kind of fun to just see where it goes. Who knows, right? Yeah. How are you guys doing so far? We have technically passed the midway point of the week, right? Unless you're literally at work right now. And yeah, we are just rounding out hump day here. Couple things that I wanted to talk to you guys about. I know a lot of you guys have been enjoying the Movie Date with Davey and Kate watch parties that we've been having. We watched the entire Jaws franchise and we went in reverse order, which was pretty cool. At least that way it gets better instead of starting with, like, you know, arguably the greatest movie of all time and then going into 3 and 4 after a pretty decent 2. I still really do like 2. I mean, it's nothing compared to the first one, but if the first one didn't exist, 2 is pretty darn good. But yeah, this weekend, Kate has some plans. She's going to be hanging out with some of her gal pals. And, I think that's important. It's, we got to be able to, still find those moments in our lives, away from each other where we can feel fulfilled. I think that's a really good thing. And also, like, Kate is sweet enough to participate as much as she does on the channel. I think she's an absolute saint. I know that you guys really love having her there. However, we are going to have to put off Sky Sharks. We won't be able to watch Sky Sharks this weekend, but we actually want to watch it before watching it with you guys, because we have like the computer in the way of the screen, kind of volume down, captions on. So it'd be nice to actually know what we're getting into and be able to highlight some stuff and probably laugh at it a little bit as well. Bringing it in there on the watch party. So yeah, that won't happen this week, but I want you guys to let me know in the chat, and I'll also do a community post. Is there a particular movie that do you still want a watch party, and what movie would you like me to sit there and watch? We can have fun with it. We can do a little ask me anything / watch party. I was thinking like A Bay of Blood or like The Burning or something like that could be really fun, but just let me know in the chat or in the comment section below if you're watching this after the fact. Eli says I kind of threw a little advertisement on Ken's live right now. Yeah, Ken was great. Like earlier, Frank was just on Sledgehammer Horror, and I jumped in there to say what's up, and everyone was like, hey, Frank, you're doing double duty going over to late night. So, and when I say everyone, I mean a couple people, but it was really cool because Ken was like, yeah, guys, go check it out. That's, Sledgehammer Horror are such sweeties. So they're always there to help out. And yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to catch up with you guys on. I'm going to be, with the Tales from the Crypt thing, I'm planning on having I'm going to shoot for an episode a week of that. And then, of course, work in some other reviews and franchise rankings. You guys know I'm a huge Evil Dead fan, so I'm going to be doing an Evil Dead series review and also a franchise ranking as well. I really want to do that before I go and hop on to Dave McCrae's channel and have a chat with him on McCrae Live, because the whole point of that McCrae Live is me trying to convince Dave that the Evil Dead is awesome. He says he is lukewarm about it, never really dove in too much, so I'm bestowing it upon myself. And I know that's a tall order because Dave is a very smart, analytical guy, tons of nuance. But, if we get enough mood and atmosphere going on over there, I think I might be able to convince him. And we got Nicholas Woodall in the chat. What's happening, Nicholas? Great to see you here. Is this your first? No, I feel like I've seen you before because that cat looks familiar, Nicholas. Maybe you've jumped in before. It's great to see you back. And if it's your first time, welcome, welcome. Touch on Gotham Noir. We can't let this project die, says Big Rod. Yeah, guys, Gotham Noir is still over there at Indiegogo. The Kickstarter campaign didn't end up the way that we wanted to, but we shifted everything over to Indiegogo. And yeah, we still have those great perks available. If you guys haven't heard me talk about Gotham Noir yet, which I think is somewhat unbelievable, but let's see. Yeah, it's a fan film, a Batman fan film that takes place in the early 1900s, and it is a horror-themed Batman fan film. So kind of going for a little bit of that, I would say like Saw, Collector, Seven sort of vibe meets Batman in the early 1900s. Batman with like a leather outfit and doesn't have like all of the toys. He has technology that is advanced for the time, but nothing that would compete with the kind of technology we have today. So it would be a Batman film like you've never seen on the screen before. We've seen it in the comics. Some of the movies have gone that kind of horror route. But yeah, with Gotham Noir, we're going R-rated and intense. So check out the Indiegogo for that one here. Let's see who else we got popping in here. Yes, Big Rod, love Sledgehammer Horror, Hammerheads for life. I think that's where you and I cross paths for the very first time, is appearing on that channel. So always grateful for you got I'm always talking about the community here and how supportive it is. And, with you guys, who knows how many of y'all I would have found if it weren't for the collaborations and, a communal effort. So, yeah, happy that you saw me over there, Big Rod. And now you're a regular over here. It's great. Happy Optimist, formerly the Infinite Character, is in the chat. What's happening, Happy Optimist? Hey, new here. Hello, everyone. Well, thank you so much for dropping by. I hope you dig the show. This is a late night talk show. It happens every Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern. I'm just about to bring on our guest, so you're going to get to the real meat of the show here. But yeah, everybody, welcome Happy Optimist to the chat. Be friendly. We love seeing new people in here. It's great. Eli says the teaser is killer for Batman, or yeah, for Gotham. Yeah, it is. The teaser is pretty damn awesome. It gives you a hint of that horror element, and yeah, we really want to bring that and bring you guys a film that will truly knock your socks off. We have Womp Stomp films involved, so one of the best there is in the fan film business, and so taking that guidance from Vincent DeSanti is you really propelled the project in an awesome direction. So I'm really, really happy about that. Please call me Prince. All right, you got it, Prince. There it is. We got Carbonite Dreams in the chat. What's happening, Carbonite? Great to see you. Yeah, Professor Pig does look pretty gnarly. It's gonna be a lot of fun, you guys. But hey, I've chatted quite enough. I'm gonna have a sip of water and then we're gonna bring on our guest. You guys know that I am a fan of physical media. I've got some really fun pieces in my collection and all that kind of stuff, but I wouldn't call myself a physical media collector because, man, it is an intense game. There's a lot going on, a lot of new releases coming. It seems every single week. There's so much to keep up on that I don't think I could. But, I'm a huge, when it comes to physical media, I guess I'm more of like a vinyl guy. Like if I love a record and it's got like a warm sound, I want to hear it on vinyl so I can get the absolute best interpretation. But our guest tonight is Frank from Frank's Media and Reviews, and he covers movie physical media. And I'm excited to have a chat with him and kind of get to know a little bit more about that game, what's it all about, and yeah, catch up with a YouTube content creator that has been wildly successful. I'm going to go ahead and say just over the 6-month mark here, and Frank is killing it out there. Guys, give a warm welcome to Frank from Frank's Media and Reviews. What's happening, Frank?
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thanks, Davey, for having me on your late night special show.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much for agreeing to do it. Every time I ask someone to do the show, I'm always surprised when they say yes.
I feel the exact same way when I ask people to interview on my show. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
so weird.
but isn't it awesome? Like, it was one of those things I was nervous about at first, but then like, the first couple times I did it, everyone was so nice. It just seems like the YouTube community is a lot more friendly than I don't know. I guess I didn't expect it to be as friendly as it was. How everyone been treating you so far?
Um, Fantastic. I mean, everyone within the physical media and horror community within the YouTube has just been very welcoming. I know for me, so I started my channel in the middle of January this year, and it took me like a couple years to like really get the courage to get it on to start a channel and everything. Excuse me. And basically, it honestly it was just a lot of encouragement from people on Twitter, because I have a lot of people on Twitter that I'm friends with, and then John from Let's Talk Entertainment and Media. He's the one who just really kind of got me over the hump of starting my channel, so I owe a lot to him. And then yeah, just I started the interviewing series, the Physical Media Club, in April, and it took me basically like a month to get enough courage to like actually ask people, because again, like I literally just started the channel. Who the hell is actually going to say yes to like a new person? And so Yeah, it really took. Yeah, my first guess was uh, Cody Leach, and
Oh, wow.
I still was flabbergasted,
Yeah,
of him actually saying yes and wanting to collab, and so just very fortunate. I've been very fortunate to have some pretty great people who that are kind of big in that specific niche area of physical media and the horror genre. So yeah, and then next Monday will be kind of like you're kind of like you, like it'll be my first late night special. So I guess I'm plugging myself. I
that's
hope you.
great. No, you should
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we've
Yeah.
got links in the description below so people can find your Twitter, your Insta, and your YouTube channel if they haven't subbed yet. So plug away. The
Oh.
whole purpose of having you on here is to, elevate that platform and get to meet some new people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, so uh my first late night special collaboration is going to be with Ken from Mid Level Media, the Sledgehammer couple, Ashley and Ken, Daniel from the Cobwebs channel, and John from Let's Talk Entertainment and Media. It's going to be a pretty fun little special, and so yeah, it's just fun. It's something that I've always wanted to do, is to kind of network and people who I've always admired and watched and for a long time, and just connecting with them, becoming friends with them. It is just it's a wonderful feeling, if I'm being honest with you. Yeah, if I'm being honest with
Yeah.
you. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's one of those things where like I grew up playing music and I was in like the punk rock community and it was a lot of fun. Like you get to meet great people that have similar interests, but show business, like that part of show business, playing music is just like really like competitive. People are cutthroat, like people that you wouldn't think. And
Mm,
I understand that has to exist to some extent here on YouTube, obviously, because it's entertainment and that's show
mhm.
business, but I feel like I haven't gotten that vibe from anyone yet. And I would imagine maybe it only starts to matter once you're like really like, top dog, hundreds of thousands of subscribers, then you could even like get to that realm. But yeah, it's really encouraging that, people feel connected to the community in a way where it's like, you know what, at one point I was there and like, so they're willing to jump on. And I mean, getting Cody Leach as your first guest is a massive get. Yeah, I mean, I've
Oh
been watching
god,
that guy
dude,
for
I was
years. He's just
stuttering like crazy, like in the beginning of it, because yeah, I was
I mean,
just
he's a
stuttering.
he's a he's a rock star of the platform, and certainly, I mean, now it's not just horror stuff, it's just movie reviewer.
Mhm,
But I mean, in his earlier days, it seemed like it was more concentrated on horror, and so he's clearly, easily one of the biggest in that realm, and obvious like also one of the biggest in just movie reviews in general. So yeah, it'll be interesting because he's coming on the late night show. At least we have him penciled in for the 28th of August, which is the 15th anniversary of Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. And we're both
nice.
big fans of that. So I wanted to chat a little bit about that. But I would imagine I'll be stuttering and a total mess and everything. I'll have to do like an hour of meditation, guided meditation beforehand just to get straight.
No, man,
uh,
you're a natural, man. You're a natural.
well, I try. But yeah, it's that I saw the stream that you're gonna do there with the two Kens, Ashley, Daniel, and I totally forgot who's the other
John from Let's Talk
John. All
Entertainment and
right.
Media. Yeah.
Yeah, and is that this weekend?
It is next Monday.
Next Monday. All right, everybody, keep an eye out for that. Go sub to Frank's channel and put on the notification for that one. You're not going to want to miss it. Yeah, we had Daniel on last week,
Mhm, mhm.
and
I saw that.
just
Yeah, saw it.
what a friggin' friendly guy. Just like, almost too friendly for his own good, right?
Yeah,
Like
but
I love a guy like I love that he like I like bad movies for one reason and he likes bad movies for a totally different reason, but we both love bad movies. It's great. And like what really does make a movie bad? Like do you have an example of a movie that like you think is a guilty pleasure, but you really don't feel guilty when you enjoy it?
The one I always go to, and it's not even a horror film, which surprises people. It's Battlefield. Battleship. Battleship. That is a
Oh,
terrible movie, man. But I love Battleship. Oh my gosh, just a great alien invasion. Like just the how ridiculous like the movie goes like throughout. I mean, but it is a fun action packed movie, and my wife and I always watch it for July 4th
nice.
season, you know, just around that time. So yeah, we love that movie. Definitely guilty pleasure.
I have never seen Battleship. Is Rihanna in that? Isn't there
Yes,
some sort
yep,
of person
Rihanna.
in there? Okay.
And gosh, I'm forgetting some of the people's names. But yeah,
Uh,
Liam
d-
Neeson.
oh my
There's
Liam Neeson is in that movie?
yeah, he's in it just for a
Wow.
little bit. And the guy who played Tarzan is in True Blood. I'm forgetting his name, of course, right now. But he's really good. And then also, uh, he was it Pinkton? He was in Civil War with Kristen Dunst, and they were also in a movie
Oh,
together that was like nominated for an Oscar, I want to say.
dang.
Yeah.
They,
Pinkton, or I'm forgetting
yeah,
really quick. So
it's not coming to me either because I remember when the movie came out, but like to me, it seems like the movie came out 5 years ago, but it was probably closer to like 10 years ago or something, right? Like,
yeah.
the way time goes, like the older you get, you're just like, oh, what the hell does it all mean?
Yeah.
Is it a good, so you said you watch it around 4th of July. Is it a good like double feature with something like Independence Day? Is it a good like one-two
We
punch?
yeah, Independence Day is always like actually on, you know, July 4th, Independence Day. That's what we do.
Mhm.
And then like the day before is I usually try to do Jaws. My wife doesn't really care for horror films, but I always
Gotcha.
have her. Thank you, Alexander Skarsgård. That's right.
There it is.
Yeah,
The other Skarsgård.
yeah. Um, he which is so funny because at the time Alexander was like a huge star because of True Blood and all the
Mhm.
movies that he kind of did, and then like Bill Skarsgård is like now like super popular and everything. But
Oh yeah, he's in
yeah.
everything. He's got the look, right? There's just
I
something
mean,
about the way Bill looks where he can like play anything, right? So
yeah.
just throw me in it all.
To go like sidetrack now, but yeah,
Yep, do it.
I just saw him on Boy Kills World, which is a
Mhm.
good action film. And then of course he's in Nosferatu,
Yeah.
and which I can't wait. That's like my film of the year. That's my most anticipated film. Uh,
Yeah.
that one. Oh my gosh, man. So love.
Yeah. So Nosferatu is where it's at for you. That's what your sights are set on.
Yeah, I mean, I love I love the cast. I love the director. I mean, he did
Mhm.
the Northman,
Oh my,
and
yeah.
then
He's
the
amazing.
bitch. I mean, Robert Eggers is just so flippin' amazing. So I really can't wait for Nosferatu, which is in December, if I remember right.
I think it's Christmas is when it comes out.
Yeah, such a weird
Yeah.
day, release day
That's
for that movie.
I I've been kind of talking about that with everyone too, because that was my thought when I did like a trailer reaction and I was like, I get it. A lot of people do go see movies on Christmas. It is like a thing that people do. My
Hmm.
family's never been one of those types of families that's done that. But the idea that like your family's gonna go see Nosferatu, like I don't know if you're gonna pack up your wife and kids and
Come
go
on,
see
girls.
Nosferatu.
Yeah.
But I mentioned it to Daniel last week too, because he was really looking forward to that one as well. And I'm like, wouldn't it make a little more sense if they put it out in October and then let it hit streaming on Christmas? And then you guys can like put on your Christmas onesies and like sit down and watch Nosferatu after the kids fall asleep or whatever,
Yeah,
like
the fire pit is going and put into
because
that movie.
I know that's exactly what Terrifier 3 is doing. Like that's the marketing behind Terrifier 3 is let's put it out in early October and then we'll be able to drop it on digital in like the middle of December,
Hmm.
right? They'll be able to like get it somewhere on streaming.
Yeah.
Um So yeah, I mean, I think Robert Eggers is like easily one of the, as far as like younger directors, up and coming guys go, he's so impressive, right? I mean, it's not just the way the films look, but it's like I think most of them is it his brother that helps him write the films, and they usually, try to use dialogue that's like from that time. They do it's almost like a history paper mixed with a film. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's like one of the most impressive things that sets his stuff apart. Even the trailer from Nosferatu has a little bit more of that. It's almost, stuff is kind of washed out to the point where it looks almost black and white. What do you think, for him to go from, works that are basically his own creation to doing a remake, of a remake essentially, or a story that people are really familiar with? What do you think that's going to be like for Eggers? And do you think we're going to see something that's a little more middle of the road, or do you think he's, still going to get pretty wild with this one?
Um, One, I expect him to go wild. I mean, traditionally, that's like his movies. Even with
Mhm.
the Vitch. I mean,
Oh my gosh,
that's a
yeah.
slow paced movie. But like, if you really like look at the story, everything else, like that's a crazy ass film. And then of course, like the
Yeah.
ending is just wonderful. Um, no, I think it's going to be a great film. Historically, I mean, for me, I'm a big fan of his. I kind of put it in the same way of like, so Mike Flanagan is basically in charge of like The Exorcist for the upcoming movie, right?
Yeah.
I feel very confident that his movie is going to be pretty good because historically he has put out some bangers, man. Just Oculus,
Mhm.
uh, Ouija,
Yeah.
the second one, and then his shows. Hello, House of
Yeah.
Haunted Hill, the last one, which was uh,
Midnight Mass?
no, the one right after that. It just came out last year. The House of Usher, or the Fall of the House of Usher.
Yeah,
Um,
right, it's based on the Poe story.
yeah, exactly. Edgar Allan Poe, and to me, that is his best show that he
Mhm.
has done. Just phenomenal storytelling, a great arc. I mean, and of course, the acting is just phenomenal, like in all of his damn shows and movies. But oh my gosh! So yeah, I'm fully confident that I'm going to like um, Robert Eggers' Nosferatu.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how much he does push it, because I know, like, if you're doing something like Nosferatu, obviously they're gonna want to make a whole bunch of money. So I'm like, how far will they take it? Because yeah, to your point, I think The Witch, even though yeah, it's a slow burn and everything, but man, it is one of the most intense films I've ever seen. It's got
Hmm.
really disturbing images in there that are tough to see. So while it's not like this crazy like bloody gore fest, like there's enough for me, because I kind of like that whole like let me feel the sense of dread slowly building kind of vibe. That's sort of what I gravitate towards a lot. Like I like gore and all that stuff is fine. Love the Evil Dead. Of course I love gore, but it's not like the thing that is most important to me. And certainly even with like The Lighthouse, I thought that movie was like incredibly engaging and creative and really like bonkers. But there was something that was also really charming about it. So I'm interested to see how he brings like his unique voice to something that a lot of people know really well. Even if people don't know the Nosferatu like films very well, it's
Hmm.
basically they just did Dracula. They didn't want to buy the rights to it. So it's pretty much just Dracula, and
Hmm.
it'll be interesting to see how he puts his spin on it there. And yeah, Mike Flanagan, you're totally right. He's a way better fit for something like The Exorcist, because that's the kind of vibe of the stories he tells. He tells those like haunted, again, kind of slow burn sort of stories.
Hmm. Uh, to that, I love slow burn movies, man. Like The Witch. Uh, Also, um, like Censor. I don't know if you've seen that one. Came
I
out in
haven't.
2020. It's a great slow burn type of movie. It's about it's a 1980s movie that is all about the horror movies in the UK, video nasties,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's the lady who reviews them to see how far it can go.
Yeah.
Slow burn movie that is fantastic. Came out, I want to say again in 2020. And then one of a great slow burn, I thought it was, is stop motion. It just came out this
Mm,
year. I don't know if you've seen it,
I need to
but
catch
that's a
up on
great
that
one.
one.
Yeah, yeah, fantastic movie, man. I think it is. So I'm yeah, I like the slow burns. Saint Maud is a great one. Crazy ending.
Yeah.
If you've seen that one, so yeah, I can go on, man.
The Oh, I know. I think that's like one of those things that I realized like the older I got, I was like, oh, I kind of like these movies that, earn the scares a little bit more and feel to me, I guess it makes it feel a little more real, something like that. Like I'm always talking about The Changeling, the 1980 Changeling with George C. Scott. That's like a big slow burn that I love that
Hmm.
I think influenced like the early Ty West stuff, like the House of the Devil and the Innkeepers. And then there's another one I've been talking about lately. I mentioned it was my second film on the Twisted Locker video that just dropped today. It was We Are Still Here from 2015 with Barbara Crampton. Have you seen that one?
No, but that was recommended in the stream that I was just on with Sledgehammer. So I need to
Yeah.
check that one out.
It's a really like, I mean, if you like that kind of stuff, it sounds like you do. Yeah, I think can't go wrong. It was one of the I watched it thinking, oh, this is just like I like Barbara Crampton. Let's see what this movie's like. And then I'm like looking over my shoulder, and just a movie that like earns the scares and all that kind of stuff and doesn't really use jump scare stuff. It more uses like blocking and camera movement to reveal things. Similarly to like, did you see When Evil Lurks last year?
Oh hell yeah, I did.
Yeah, I felt like that movie did a really good job of like there might be a musical sting to make you maybe you think it's a jump scare, but a lot of stuff where it's like no, the camera just moves around a character and then boom, here you go with this like disturbing image, that just comes into frame. It's like I just think it's a way more creative way of getting somebody to feel that dread.
Hmm. One of the movies that I always recommend people seeing. It is one of my favorite damn modern horror films, and that is The Dark and the Wicked. If you guys haven't seen The Dark and the Wicked, it is one of the best modern horror films, and nobody knows about it. And not a lot of people, I should say, know about it because it just flew under the radar because of the
Mhm.
pandemic, COVID pandemic. And holy smokes, man, it is fantastic. I love like that feeling of dread, that sense of dread. And that's part of the reason why I like, kind of like the slow burn movies because of the
Mhm.
storytelling,
Yeah.
just everything that kind of goes with it. Um, not everything has to be super rushed, super action packed or gory, stuff like that. Films can take its time, and so I know that for some people it can be boring, but for me,
Mhm.
I find it that sense of dread, that eeriness, that type of feeling. It kind of
Yeah.
gets me sucked into the movie a little bit more. Just like how, for me, my favorite subgenre within horror is found footage films.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
yeah, yeah, I just like it when I'm just like kind of in it as a viewer,
Yeah.
and just that whole, for me it was like how I started was the paranormal type of stuff, and so yeah,
Yeah.
man, I love it.
You, and I haven't seen any of the Paranormal Activity movies. Like, I know it's a different kind of found footage, I guess, because it's more of like the let's set up a camera kind of thing. Where a lot of the found footage films, I feel like one of the characters is
Hmm.
like walking around with it the whole time. But I've yet to see any of those. I don't know what it is. If it's just like I think there was like a certain stigma or something that I had around found footage where I'm just like, oh, they're cheap and like easy, and that's great that the filmmakers can find some success, but maybe I wanted something with a little more meat on the bone. But I feel like now that's what do they have, like 7 of those things at this point, something like
Seven or
that.
I gotta look at my dang box set.
I, I
I
might as
don't
well watch
remember.
them.
Yeah.
Like if there's that many, then there must be something about it that works.
I mean, to an extent, for sure, because it's just all about the money within production companies and everything. But
Yeah.
uh, my favorite within the franchise is Paranormal Activity 3. I always say that I didn't I didn't really like. I liked the movie when I originally saw it. However, when I became a parent, that's when that
Mm,
movie really affected me. And that's part of the reason why I like watch movies like later on in life because you get a different perspective. Things
Yeah.
may affect you a little bit differently. Like one of the movies, I'm going to be doing a video later on, but like unsettling movies, at least for me,
Hmm.
was I don't know if you saw it, but Speak No Evil came out in 2022. Just terrible like decisions by a parent and how it
Mm.
affects their kids, and just how it ends. I was Davey, I was pissed for like days, but that's
Wow.
how it affected me,
Yeah.
because I, as a parent, were like, what the, I don't know if I can cuss, but you want me to cuss, but like, I was like, what the F, like, what's
You could
going on
say
here?
whatever the fuck you want,
Yeah,
Frank.
yeah, yeah. I'm trying to
YouTube
be
doesn't care
respectful,
about
buddy.
me. They're like, we don't give a shit about you,
Yeah.
Davey. Like, you do what
Uh,
you want, and we'll let you know when we actually give a shit.
yeah. But yeah, it really impacted me as a parent. Just like, what the fuck, man? Like, so anyway,
Mhm.
just that type of, like, I love those type of films. Even the ones that, like, I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's got to change your perspective a little bit being a parent. I'm not one. My wife and I have 3 cats, so that didn't really change anything. But yeah, that's got to put a totally different spin on, like, I mean, obviously the way you feel about a lot of things, but especially, you know, certain emotions being triggered by the movies you're watching for sure.
Hmm.
Are there any, like, can you think of a couple that were like favorites of yours or movies you loved a lot that now you don't think you can watch again because of it?
That's actually a good question. Putting me on the spot. Um,
That's what people come to late night with the Davy for. They want
yeah.
the hard hitting. Now that you're a parent, which movies can you not watch any? Because there's got to be something out there.
I I would say so. There's a movie called Inside. It's a French extreme horror film. That movie is, if people have seen Inside, it's a pretty messed up film. Like, I like pretty messed up films, but like, just becoming as a parent, like, there's some situations and there's a specific
Mm,
scene that's like, it's pretty graphic. But
yeah,
that is one of the ones I'm like, oh, holy damn. Just
yeah,
complete, it just hits differently, in a bad way. It's like, I
yeah.
own it, yeah, because I still think it's a good film, but fuck, man, that, if you've seen Inside in that specific scene, it's pretty messed up.
It is wild how, like, there are some movies, where I'm just like, the movie was great. I don't know if I can ever watch it again.
Hmm.
Like something like Martyrs, where I'm like, the original Martyrs is like very impactful. It's really good at what it's doing, but man, it is like gut punch after gut punch, really difficult to watch. And but I give it top marks. Even something like Requiem for a Dream, like, yeah, pretty much all of
Yeah.
the Darren Aronofsky movies where it's just like the guy, man, you make some really good depressing movies, dude. Like, your shit's really difficult.
Hmm.
And then we could throw it back to The Witch, because I'm not even a parent, and the whole scene of like the grinding of the brains, or
Oh
just
my
that shot is,
god.
to me, it's
Yeah.
just, and even just like your baby's missing, and like how heartbreaking that would be at any point in history, let alone like in this pre-colonial time kind of. It's just yeah, even that one, I'm like, man, I feel sick to my stomach watching
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. Good question, man. I got to keep that one on.
Hey, that's a video right there for you, Frank. Like, movies I can't watch now that I'm a parent, like, or
Yeah.
movies that changed for me now that I have kids. And you just start the video off with your whole family and be like, guys, this is the reason why I'm forever changed. Something like that. I don't know. There's even movies like, that my wife, she, God bless her, like, I got her into horror to a certain extent. But there's movies that, like, it's got to be like she's out for the day if I'm gonna watch it. Like, any of the Child's Play movies, she's not into any creepy doll shit. And then Black Christmas, she can't do the creepy Billy voice stuff. And maybe that just is a little bit different for the ladies than it is for
Hmm.
the guys. Where, to me, I just think of it as like, wow, this is just shocking as far as like film from 1974 where some of the things that are being said here, like today, if you couldn't even put them in a movie, I would imagine back then they were really shocking as well. So yeah, this is funny. Dice says not safe for parents.
I love it.
That's a good
I
one.
always think it's so damn odd and great that the director has so much range, but the director for Black Christmas is the same one who did A Christmas Story.
Yeah,
Like it's just
and Porky's. It's
and por-
like it's like, whoa, dude, it's like 3 films that are like pillars within the genre.
yeah, yeah.
It is pretty wild. Yeah, Bob Clark was, fantastically gifted, to be able to
Hmm.
do that. And yeah, I think Black Christmas for me gets creepier every year I watch it. It just seems to have a bit more of an impact. The idea that he's in the house like pretty much the entire time is one of those things where I'm like, they just play it perfectly. It's just, and you keep on going to that shot of Claire just like rocking on her chair with the bag. It's just like, man, this movie is just relentless. Like she's still up there by the end of the friggin' movie. They don't even know. Like, I guess her dad stopped caring about looking for Claire after the first act. He's just sort of like, all right, I'll leave all the young ladies in the care of the alcoholic, house mother here.
Oh god, yeah.
That is
Oh
one of
man.
my favorite. Like that's such a cutesy like Bob Clark thing too. Like every room she goes in, she's got like a hidden bottle of booze.
Yeah.
Just like telltale signs of alcoholism right there. Raymond does not like pregnant women in danger movies. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's certain things that just make us want to protect our loved ones, right?
For sure.
Doesn't like Child's Play. She's not the one, bro. I tried to get her to watch him with me, Ken, but I think there's just something about the doll. Like she hasn't, I think that if she sat down and watched one, especially the first one, because the first Child's Play, it's interesting. Like when you look at the whole series and you think about what Chucky is now, he's this like brash, loudmouth icon, always cracking jokes and stuff. But really, like that didn't start that much until the second film. Like the first movie is like a serious cop drama mixed with like horror elements. It's really interesting to see, and I guess that's sort of a theme with some of these horror franchises is the first film feels like a totally different thing than what it ends up turning into. Do you have a favorite Child's Play?
Well, perfect example, just to touch upon it, is Buddy and I, Ken, just kind of talked about it a little while ago, but like Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger, prime example. He leaned later on in the series into more of a kind of comedic type of villain. Yeah. But yeah, sorry, what was your question? It just kind of got me thinking of like characters, villains who were like pretty, the devious or just very sinister, and then later on just kind of became like a comic relief in some ways.
It seems like Freddy and Chucky are very like tied to each other in that way, right? Because they both have like there's so much personality, but then at some point maybe it becomes like a detriment to the overall. And I feel like they played it a little bit better in Child's Play because they went a little bit more of like that tongue-in-cheek looking at the camera, like a borderline meta kind of thing,
Yeah.
Whereas before, when Freddy actually went meta in New Nightmare, that was actually like bringing the series back to earth a little bit and removing the comedy. Whereas, yeah, I mean, by the time you're in Freddy's Dead, like what the hell's going on? Like he's basically a cartoon, literally pushing spikes onto a road for somebody that's falling, like doing Wile E. Coyote shit.
Yeah.
But do you have a favorite in the Child's Play series?
Good question. I would say, I think the original is kind of just the go-to. I would say besides the original, I would say Child's Play 3 is good, and what is it? Curse of Chucky. The second to last one. It's the second to last one. Yeah. It's right before Cult of Chucky with the
that
multiple
one's really
Chucky.
good. Yeah, I think Curse is really damn good. Like that one was, I was like, damn, they kind of brought it back here, you
And yeah,
know?
that's what I just mentioned actually, and Ken's stream was that because one of the favorites for Kylie was Cult of Chucky, which
Mhm.
for me personally, I didn't really care for,
Yeah.
but I liked Curse of Chucky. They brought it back a little bit old school. She brought up a good point. You know, like he doesn't really say anything until like much later in the film,
Hmm.
like 2/3 of it. He starts talking like 40 minutes or whatever it was. You know, he starts getting into character like we normally know that he
Hmm.
does. But like anyway, yeah, I just still really liked the atmosphere, the way that it was built, and yeah, it really kind of surprised me because I actually didn't see it until I got the 4K when Scream Factory put it out last year.
Yeah, and that one in Curse, they like bring back Charles Lee Ray. Like you get to see a little bit more of like, they sort of do a little bit of prequel thing with the like, flashbacks and stuff like that. So I think it was the first time they really went back to, Chucky as a human in the whole series,
Hmm.
if I'm right. I don't think they did it in Bride or Seed, right?
No, I'm pretty
Man,
sure.
I've been watching I watched those movies lately because I'm putting together a ranking, and I'm like, I liked Bride of Chucky so much more like when I first saw it than I do now. I don't know what it is. It's so like, not that it's bad. I think it's just like it's so reminiscent of the time. Like it's like Freddy versus Jason. Like when I watch it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the most like 2003 thing I've ever seen.
I
Where it
think
just like really takes you back.
yeah, and there was a long hiatus. I mean, between three
Mhm.
and Bride of Chucky,
Yeah.
um, and of course, you know Jennifer Tilly. I mean, she's really a wonderful actress, and
Oh
that
yeah.
character itself, Tiffany, it's a great little character, and so I think people really gravitated towards that because she's
Mhm.
really good in that movie. That's
Yeah.
if I'm being honest, that's kind of the reason why I really like Bride of Chucky is because of Jennifer Tilly.
She's
Um,
great.
yeah, I'm not a big fan of Seed of Chucky,
Yeah.
the one following that one. So yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, Seed tries to sort of ride the same wave, and it's doesn't really have like it feels like a sister movie in a sense, like they're trying to continue that story directly. Um, but yeah, it seems a little more wacky. Just a
it's a
little,
lot more wacky. Yeah.
where you're like, what's going on here? Like, who's in this movie? Like Redman's in this movie? Okay, okay, what's going on now? Like, this is very interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jennifer Tilly is so charming, and it gets to feel just a little more like comic booky. I
Mm.
like the look of like it's cool that they sort of reinvented the Chucky look. And I guess it makes sense because what at the end of 3 he's like chopped up in a fan, so it makes sense that he'd have to be all stitched together and everything. So, you
Hmm.
know, it's far better. Like the cool thing about the way Chucky looks is they find a way to make it make sense. It's way better than like, in some of the Halloween movies, you're like, what the hell just happened with the mask? Like from 4 to 5, and you can't even give me a consistent mask. And neither one of them are that great, but couldn't you just stuck with one?
Yeah.
you know?
That's one thing I love about the new trilogy was the mask was perfect.
Oh
I
my God.
I
Yeah.
love the
Yeah.
evolution of even that mask.
Yeah.
It was great design, but yeah, you're definitely right with those Halloween movie that the mask and just look crazy. It was
Yeah.
terrible, like H2O. That whole mask that was terrible.
Yeah.
I love that movie still. I mean, I to me that series, that franchise should have ended on H2O. It had a perfect ending to the
Probably. Yeah.
franchise. Uh and so in the storyline, I just went with it, of course. Like, he's
Yeah.
cruising, traveling.
Yeah, he drives like halfway across the country overnight somehow, even though that's impossible. Yeah, H2O is one of those. It's there's stuff to love about it. I can totally pick it apart. I do think the biggest problem for me is the mask, just that it's like it's back and forth. Not even just that it's one mask that looks bad, but they couldn't even find consistency. So it's like, especially in the last act, you're like, oh my God, every other shot is that terrible, like stark white, like powder white K and B mask where he looks like an alien that's like making this face.
It's so funny, man.
Yeah, like what is
Uh,
going on here? So are you a big out of the big three, which would you say is your favorite?
As a franchise as a whole, the one that I go back to a lot, I would say, I think is Halloween. I
Mhm.
would go Halloween, Friday the 13th, and Freddy. Even though like Nightmare on
Yeah.
Elm Street was like my gateway into horror,
Mhm.
um, which I did an interview on the Sledgehammer, so check that out. But yeah, it
Oh, for
was.
my first horror film?
Yeah, exactly.
Sweet.
I just remember as a kid, a little Frankie, getting just scared shitless, just watching and just having nightmares. But the imagery of Freddy Cougar,
Mhm.
how menacing he is, how it just he's so damn evil, and getting into, obviously I was really young. I was in kindergarten, I think, just young. It's the 80s, man. Like parents
Yeah.
didn't give a fuck. And so like I just watching that type of movie, and just, but
Yeah.
it was the one that stuck with me, that one and The Entity. um that's maybe why I really love the paranormal movies.
Mm. Mhm.
Just not the franchise, but paranormal movies in general, just ghost type movies. But
Mhm.
anyway, yeah, but as a whole, I always watch. I'm religious. Halloween every single damn
Yeah.
time. I
Yeah.
watch the Halloween, the first one, the original. I think it's a masterpiece. Two's really good. The first one I remember as a kid was four, which introduced his niece,
Yeah.
and that was just amazing. And then the ending to that film, that
Yeah.
stuck with me because I saw it as a kid. I was like, holy shit, man! Like a killer young girl, like I'm scared. And so yeah, that
Yeah.
stuck with me. And then yeah, and then I began to like really like Halloween 3, just
Mhm.
because it's a great movie by itself, and it just got a lot of hate because it had
Mm.
nothing to do with Michael Myers, obviously,
Yeah.
and it just has the Halloween name, and
Yeah.
so, but the ending is just one of the best endings I think of any horror movie. Tom Atkins kills it. Tom Atkins is being Tom Atkins,
Yeah.
and
He's
that.
amazing.
Yeah, and so I don't know, man. Yeah, I just love it. Is so franchise as a whole for sure. Halloween. If you would have asked me a while ago, I think I would have said Friday the 13th, just because Jason himself is just
Mhm.
he's so iconic. I mean, all of them are obviously,
Yeah.
but just how intimidating. Like Michael Myers, the shape, he physicality, he's not that
Mhm.
intimidating. He moves slow, he's got a mask on,
Yeah.
but Freddy, but Jason, Voorhees, like that sucker is just relentless.
Mhm.
He's just physically intimidating. And that's what I would have said a few years ago, but as I got older, the Halloween.
Yeah, I think the Jason is just so much fun. The Friday the 13th movies are just a breeze. Like you pop them in, they're, summer camp, easy to watch, probably more accessible than Halloween. I think Halloween's like you got to be feeling that mood or you're just into that
Hmm.
mood in general. But yeah, I mean, I always thought there was something so scary about, to me, it's that unremarkable look of Michael's mask, just the fact that you like project your own emotion on it or no emotion at all. It looks different in each shot, different with each kind of lighting, which I think is really interesting. It's almost like a Rorschach test kind of thing, like you see what you want to see in it. And yeah, Michael definitely, he's like a cat, right? He doesn't just attack right away. He sit there, he plans and waits. He's patient. At least in the first film, he's that way. Which is I think one of the reasons why the first film just works so well, that he's just waiting for the perfect time, following these girls and just seeing, letting it all marinate and just waiting for the perfect time to strike.
Hmm.
It's unsettling for sure. Now, you know, I do see a bunch of great physical media there behind you. And you are a physical media guy. Is there anything that's new to your collection that you are really excited about that you want to show off? Or is there, do you have like
No,
a
I didn't
couple
even.
pieces that you don't get to talk about enough that you want to show off and chat about? I mean, I know you're always talking about it, but for our folks here in the chat, let's have a little show.
Oh, okay. I mean, it would be all around here. I would have got some, man.
You're okay.
So,
It's a chill show, man. It's not, you know, we're not on NBC, so you're cool.
yeah. Well, one of the ones that I always try to promote is a boutique label called Umbrella Entertainment. They are based in Australia, and they just put out some phenomenal packaging. They're pretty well known now because of their release with Super Mario Brothers, which is a god awful movie, but this movie, this release is just incredible. It's literally, it's so damn thick. And there's a little film piece to it, like a little.
Oh, you get a snippet of the actual film?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Where the hell is it? Can't even find it.
I have that with an old Monty Python and the Holy Grail box that I have that comes with a snippet of the film. That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's just the supplements is just it's just bonkers because of this movie. You just wouldn't expect it. And you know, I honestly was very fortunate to get the number one because I won a social media giveaway. And so I got the number one of the entire trust.
No way.
Yeah, man. I'm not bullshitting you.
So they got each one of those is numbered.
Yes, sir. Yeah, because it's limited edition, and Umbrella Entertainment, their limited editions, they mean it, man. For the most part, they mean it. This one was an exception because it was just so popular. It was very high demand. That they did a second pressing, which is called One Up, which is a blue box. It doesn't have. There's something else that's missing. I think maybe one of the books. I think are. I don't really know per se. At least I don't remember. But anyway, yeah, it's just a crazy release. One of my favorite horror films, international horror films, Audition. Fantastic release from Umbrella.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Let's see. The Raid. This one just came out. Was just released. This is one of the greatest action films of all time. Just the martial arts. Just the action sequences to this film is incredible. Yeah. I mean, I got a lot of like limited edition type of stuff. I mean, this is one of my favorites is Dawn of the Dead from Second Sight. Second Sight is based in the UK. It's my favorite boutique label. And they just put out just phenomenal releases. Their limited editions to me are just the best. At least
that looks gorgeous.
And yeah, this is a 6-disc set for this movie. Huge book. I mean, it's just pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, one of my favorites in my entire collection. Sorry, guys. Is Bruce Lee set. This one is means a lot. It's my like sentimental piece to me. It's like it just really reminds me of the great times I had with my father when I was younger. And yeah, this has all of his damn movies in it, and it's just incredible. Like this is the box set. I mean, this is the best release I think Arrow has ever done. And it just happens to be something that just means a lot to me.
I mean, I think that's the really cool thing, like with art, like when it comes to like the way you know, it's that sentimental attachment and the memories you have with it that plays such a big part, whether it's like music or, you know, a movie, whatever it is. You know, I feel like at least with those two stand out to me, but it always, you know, they can transport you back somewhere or
Hmm.
remind you of somebody or make you smell something. Or it's like it's wild the way that, you know, the art that we love can sort of do that for us. And yeah, I mean, you know, with that Bruce Lee box you've got there, it seems like that one clearly does that for you for sure.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I touched upon it like in my videos, especially when I first started
Hmm.
the YouTube channel, and I've said it in like interviews as well. Is that that's part of the reason why I started collecting physical media is because um, it brought back so this wonderful memories that I had with my father. Um, when I was younger, and even with other family members or friends,
Hmm.
and just to have that physical piece at home or in
Yeah.
my possession, just is to me just like a wonderful feeling. And I can always go back to it. Like I can just come back
Hmm.
to my room or just where I just store my movies in general, and just hit it up. And what I think a lot of us physical media collectors who have children, we hope that they love, the movies, and the goal. I don't know the goal, but the hope is they will, have their own little collection.
Yeah.
But what it is that I have some movies that I know I won't really watch, but I just had just a wonderful movie, wonderful memory with watching it with my children.
Hmm.
So it just becomes like it kind of just grows
Yeah.
when later on in life. Um, so yeah.
Well, yeah, and then you've always got their like bookmarks, you know, that can kind of bring you back. And I think that's something really special. And especially like you said, with having the physical media, it's nice to actually hold something in your hands. And especially with the, you know, I feel like we're so blessed with all these boutique labels, and then even just the standard re-releases. I mean, not standard re-releases, but when they get re-released by the original companies, they even put more frills on there. So it's like, you know, coming from the vinyl collecting standpoint, you know, they do the same kind of thing with records now where you get like, you know, I have a version of the Halloween 2018 soundtrack that's like two vinyl and it has, you know, all sorts of goodies on the inside. I've got this Hateful Eight one that has like multiple posters inside of it. So it's just not
Mm.
only do you have this big piece of physical media that holds the record, but all the goodies inside, and it certainly looks like those boxes have it. I'm really excited, and I don't know. I think that you may have ordered this as well. I'm really excited for the Late Night with the Devil umbrella box. I've got that one coming here in September. That like special edition with all the TV guide and all that kind of stuff. Because I don't usually do that kind of thing, but with that one, I was like, I gotta have this shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's a play. You mean your show is so?
I
Yeah,
stole it
yeah,
all.
exactly. Yeah, I'm of course. Yeah, I pre-ordered the collector's edition. I also pre-ordered the 4K. Some people don't know that there's a 4K release in German. That's a German release.
Mm,
Also comes out in September. I just I'll get it here in a couple days, but some people don't know, like Immaculate
mm,
has a 4K release. It's also released in Germany, so I have that coming here in a couple days, so I can't wait to see that. But
hell yeah.
yeah, man, just it's really nice to see just these wonderful releases that boutique labels or just labels in general just
Yeah.
put out. So
How
yeah,
how
love
do
it.
you keep up? Because there we got this guy in here,
Big-
Christian, big money Frank on tonight. I
I don't know
mean,
about that.
because Christian, everyone knows he's a big physical media guy as well. And sometimes I'm just like, man, I mean, it's I'm like, how do these guys keep up? There's so much. It seems like every day there's something new that you gotta keep track of. And it's one of those things like I admire that. I couldn't keep up. So it's great to have your guys' channels to tune into, and it feels like I'm vicariously living through you. And then if there is some like really special thing out of the handful of releases you talk about, it's a good way to get like news on that kind of stuff. But seriously, Frank, how do you keep up? How do you do it?
Well, I wasn't always collecting. There was a long hiatus actually, but really what got me back into collecting was the pandemic. Um,
Mm.
I mentioned in Ken from Mid Level Media. I did an interview with him. Mentioned it that I paddled, for drag. Well, you don't, but anyway, for dragon boating and outrigger, I was a competitive paddler. We
Oh
traveled
wow.
throughout the Northwest and California. I did a race in Hawaii. So just I was really competitive, and I was all into it. But when the pandemic happened, of course, the world stopped, and
Mm-hmm.
so it was actually a perfect transition because I needed to step back because if I'm being honest, I was too focused into that sport. I was a president of a club that had that was close to like 120, maybe 130 people of
Wow.
adults and high school kids because I used to coach a high school team. We had a couple teams within the club, so like I was all into it. And but how it all worked out is pandemic happened, and so I just had this expense. I just had this money.
Oh,
I was
gotcha.
very fortunate, I guess I would say. And so then that's when I started to collect like movies, and we just had like a basic like 4K like TV. It was a Samsung like KU something, just something basic over at Best Buy.
Yeah.
Uh, but started collecting 4K movies, and then I upgraded my TV and then of course the sound system. So it kind of just after that, and then that's when I started to watch Ken from Mid Level Media. Like he was the
Mm.
one that kind of got me. I blamed it when I did the interview. I blamed him, but yeah, it was just you
So
know
you're saying you got fear of missing out from other content creators, and that's what made you dive in?
the FOMO, yeah, to some extent. I mean, that's what.
You're like, what am I, some sort of loser? Why don't I have all this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I was playing catch up because I started collecting in right before 2019, and then 2020 is when I really dived into it.
Mm.
But yeah, it was just all these wonderful collections, releases that people were displaying on YouTube, and I was like, holy smokes, I've
Yeah.
been missing out.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I just went a little crazy. And then it's just kind of been, ever since.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's kind of like the uncomfortable discussion, the subject of like, you don't want to go too much financially. And like
Mm.
everyone who's been collecting physical media has gone through a situation like that. I
Sure.
have people really don't like to talk about it because it's uncomfortable. It
Hmm.
doesn't get enough like views or whatever. It can be,
Yeah.
a sensitive topic, rightfully so. But if we're being honest, like that's exactly what happens. And so,
Yeah.
um, for me, I don't buy every dang movie, every release. I'm kind of
Hmm.
selective, and especially since I order movies internationally, like that comes at a cost. I saw one of the comments
Yeah.
is Diabolic DVD. I always suggest them because that's how I got some of these movies. Like Phantasm is on 4K. Some
Hmm.
people don't know about that, which is an awesome horror movie and a franchise. But
Oh yeah.
the tall man. And so, yeah, they're just a great um, uh, website, just a great outlet to getting
Yeah.
other movies that maybe some just don't know because how I got into it was Best Buy because it was really
Mm.
close and, it's Best Buy, everyone
Yeah.
knows about it. And so, yeah, I mean, I always try to inform people who are physical media collectors or at least interested in it about other ways to get said movies. So, Diabolic
Yeah.
DVD, Orbit DVD, Atomic. Gosh, what is it? Atomic something. They're really good. Um, Yeah, I mean, yeah, and then of course going specifically to the boutique label themselves.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it is crazy. Like these releases is just insane with how many movies are being released.
Mhm.
Um, because
I
of
mean, there are
course,
movies that are like there are movies that I never would, I saw growing up as a kid or just kind of run of the mill, and then you see these beautiful, like Vinegar Syndrome or somebody puts together this beautiful thing, and I'm like, for that movie, it's like a 2.5 star, but every movie has its fans, so it is kind of wild. Like, I can totally see how it can get out of hand, and then it can
hmm
appear when you watch people on YouTube and stuff or see people's posts, it can appear like everyone is just buying everything and you're the only person that can't do it. But yeah, I think that's a good point you bring up, that everyone kind of reaches a spot where they're like, okay, I need to cool it down. Cause I certainly got that way with vinyl, where it was
yeah.
like, I was just, $30 a pop buying records that I totally loved and not really even thinking about it too much.
Yeah, I mean, you just brought up Vinegar Syndrome, and like they have a line called the VSU line, and this um this the Beastmaster is not that great of a film, but
Yeah.
it's a this release is just insane. I mean, it's just incredible.
Yeah.
A movie that's just a terrible movie, but it has just an amazing release, and a 4K transfer is one of the best that I have ever seen. Like Showgirls, I
Yeah.
mean, it's just insane, like how much love and detail that a specific label will go into it. Kind of like
Yeah.
with you and like the record. I'm sure
Ex-
there's like someone. I mean, I've seen just recently. Wasn't it like Dune Part Two? Their vinyl. There's like someone like put sand in it, and then
Yeah.
like it's just
You can do
crazy.
Yeah, you can do that kind of stuff. In fact, Brent Madison is in the chat. Brent, I don't know if this is your first time hanging out with us here in the chat. Maybe I've seen you somewhere else, but thank you so much for popping in. And yeah, he says, speaking of vinyl, picked up that crazy vinyl release of Saltburn, which has liquid in the vinyl record itself. And I've heard of that, where it's even if they don't have like liquid, because I know some of them you can like move the record around and see stuff move from within. But I know that
Mhm.
people have done, oh gosh, what band was it where they put in, I think it was Kiss way back in the day, literally put some of their own blood into the mix for a vinyl.
Oh wow.
And then my wife is a big country guy. She loves Eric Church, and he pressed Jack Daniels into like a 7-inch that he did, where they poured Jack Daniels into the batch. So yeah,
Oh wow.
and then even like, so even for the folks that aren't the biggest vinyl collectors, or maybe they're looking to get into it, Target and Walmart have exclusive colored vinyl. So even if you want to dip your toe, they have colored vinyl that are only available at their stores.
I didn't know
So
that. Yeah.
yeah, so I picked up a Weezer Blue album, and it's, the record's blue, and it's like limited edition only at Target kind of thing, which is, kind of fun if you're
hmm
like, it's a record I didn't have before. Now I don't go like, I try not to rebuy records just to get new editions, but there are some albums that I do have multiple copies of, because I just
hmm
can't help myself sometimes. I'm
Oh
sure you
yeah.
know what it's like. I mean,
Oh, for
yeah,
sure.
because the Showgirls, it's almost like they just got you with the packaging, right? They're just like, look at how cool our packaging is, right? Because how many times are you going to watch Showgirls? Oh,
Not much.
at least when you're not alone, how many times are you going to watch Showgirls?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, not that much. But it is still just a gorgeous release.
Yeah,
It's just crazy. Um, but yeah, it's funny that you mentioned Walmart with some exclusivity with, you said, with vinyl. So
yeah,
yeah, they took over like Best Buy's, because Best Buy had specific, exclusive releases.
yeah.
Walmart basically replaced them, and now you can
Man,
only get it at Walmart, which was like the same would be,
jeez.
packaging or whatever releases at Best Buy.
That's
So
Yeah, that's easy money for Walmart, because I've seen just so many physical media collectors and horror fans that are just like, then in the last month, just posting all sorts of, here's my video of me at Walmart. Like, like, of course there was like the Terrifier 2 double VHS and everything that like made everyone go out there, but I think that was sort of like a nice little bit of marketing that got people to realize like, oh my god, Walmart has all this stuff now.
mhm.
So man, yeah, that whole thing with Best Buy, it just seems like maybe they underestimate how rabid people are for that realm of physical media, because somebody's going to make that money. Now Walmart's going to take it, right?
Yeah, and they're making bank, man, because they can't even keep up with like
Yeah.
their limited editions that the steel books that they put out, like Godzilla and Kong New Empire. There's a specific release from them. They sold out online, and it hasn't even been in the stores like at all.
Jeez.
Just because everyone bought it online, and so
Yeah.
there is that high demand.
Oh, yeah.
So unfortunately, if you want to get some of these like exclusive, designs or
Yeah.
steel books, you got to pre-order it.
Yeah, and I know people have been scouring all the stores for that Terrifier too, because that's not the
Hmm.
easiest thing to come by. So it's like when they put out the NES Classic, it was like good luck finding one. You have to like show up when the truck shows up and be like, is my Terrifier 2 VHS on that truck? 5 a.m, just waiting there by the dock like some sort of junkie. It's great.
Hmm.
It's amazing what the art makes us do, what it turns us into, Frank. Now, our amazing subscriber Eli Cortez, who I would love to see Eli's collection because he has so much that he's able to send me stuff, which is amazing. Eli, I'll always, I'll take your doubles once you, upgrade anytime. You have my address. But yeah, he wants to know. I saw you grab it there. Your DGG trilogy steelbook box set.
Yeah, 1435.
There it is. Now, which one is where do you put those, like in the overall ranking of the franchise? And then, are you a guy that enjoys ends, or are you not so into ends? I guess usually it's one or the other, right?
Yeah. Well, if you're specifically talking about the new trilogy,
Yeah.
they should have like swapped those damn movies, ends and 2018 Halloween. I personally, I really liked the 2018 Halloween. I thought it was a great start into the franchise. And one of the comments mentioned it earlier, but they really liked how intimidating Michael Myers was. He was just a different killer and just a brutal person. The kills, oh my gosh, it was awesome. I loved it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am not a fan of Halloween Ends. I didn't like how weak they made Michael Myers into. I mean, there's been a number of videos and everything else. Like,
Yeah.
it's a it can be a hot topic, and there's a lot of videos, a lot of opinions on it. But yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of that movie. Like, I was a Davey, I was a band geek, man. And
you weren't a band tough.
like, who the hell, man? I was a band nerd. I was in marching band, symphonic band, just all these other different little things and within the music, and so I to have like just intimidating like bully like band members, like what the hell, like
it's a different world, Frank. It's a different world now,
Haddonfield, man, Illinois.
Haddonfield in the 2020s, where the band kids beat up everyone.
Yeah,
demand that you buy them beer. What the heck is that all about?
Yeah, I just really wish that like it should have like swapped. It should have flipped, in my opinion, especially with how Halloween ends, how the finale is and everything, and how was it Corey, the way that they kind of just built it up, and then how it ended for that character was deflating, in my opinion. I would have liked it to be like a new killer, like taking over that type of role, another Michael Myers. But man, Evil Dies Tonight. That's right, Hall & Oates, dude. I actually have that shirt. I that's one of the things too. One of my annual Halloween watches, movies for spooky season is Halloween
Mhm.
Kills, just specifically for the brutal kills and how
Yeah.
intimidating Michael Myers is. But then, then of course, damn, evil dies tonight, and some of the stupid,
I
kills. The girl
I think
shoots.
my favorite one is like the woman in the hospital. Like she feels like someone's got to say this again, right? Because Tommy's like, "Evil dies tonight," and then there's like this pregnant pause, and she's like, "Evil dies tonight." Like, yeah, yeah. I think that there is something like, because I think Kills, yeah, everything it does well, it does so well. Like that's the crux of Halloween Kills. Like the stuff that works is so damn good. But like the whole Tivoli thing, I think is a really rough patch for me. It's not really the kind of discomfort and horror that I'm looking for in a Michael Myers Halloween film. So I feel like it's almost like we're taking a break from the movie. And I get what they're trying to comment on the fact that like mob mentality, regardless of like who you are, like being a part of a mob is not a good thing. Like even with the
Mhm.
best intentions, it can be bad. But it does seem like there was a lot of like Tommy's dialogue is like repeat. He says something, then he says it again. He does the whole like, I'm gonna grab Huckleberry here and it's gonna be night night. And then he goes, night night. And it's like, oh shit. He's like, keep your heads up and your eyes open. And then he looks into the rear view mirror and he's like, eyes open. And I'm like, well, who told him to do this? Like, David, who told them to repeat every line? Like, is this Super Troopers? Are they doing the repeater from Super Troopers? But yeah, I think there, we talk about it quite a bit here on the channel. And so, a lot of the folks here in the chat have probably heard me say it a whole bunch, but I think, yeah, ends would have been served way better if we had met Corey in the first film. He doesn't even need to be in Kills, but maybe we just meet him in the first film.
Mhm.
Maybe he's in the honor society with Allison, so we know that he's this really smart kid, but he doesn't come from like any sort of, like rich family life or anything like that. Maybe Cameron doesn't like the fact that this kid hangs out with his girlfriend. So you just get like a little idea of who Corey is. And then I would say, yeah, in Ends, like you might as well just like turn him. By the time he's going to the radio station and then going to the junkyard, like in the suit, I'm like, this is Michael. Like to me, it felt enough like Michael for me to be bought into it. And I didn't even need to see Michael for the rest of the movie. You could have just shown like his dead corpse in the, in the drain, and Corey walks off and we hear the breathing in the mask and we just know that like, all right, so it really was a transference of power. Maybe it just like took a little bit of time for it. Like he had to upload Michael's soul or whatever into him. So I do think
Ottoman took
and
the mask in the sewer. But
yeah,
leading up to that, like, or I should say after that, because because they started the Tatum, tag team, the
yeah,
killings of the house, and
mhm,
just how he evolved as a killer. And yeah, I actually was for all that. And then you
yeah,
said at the junkyard, like I was like, okay, this is a good kind of twist of a storyline.
yeah,
And then if they, for being honest, like they had to do the whole, Jamie Lee,
yeah.
versus
They
like
they had to have
they
that.
had to
So
have
for
it.
some reason it comes back to it. And I mean, but did Corey really have to stab himself in the throat? Spoiler alert if you haven't seen Halloween. Because that's one of those things where I'm like, man, they could have even like then at least some way you have a way to continue the boogeyman story without it literally being Michael in the next film if you want to. I thought that was sort of a waste to just have him stab himself. And I guess that wasn't even what killed him. It was Michael that really killed him. But pretty much, I mean, you're not going to survive a stab in the neck. Trust me, I've tried. Doesn't work. But yeah, it's interesting. Like the legacy of those films it'll be interesting to see how people feel about them years down the road because, if you have certain expectations or maybe if you hear certain things about the movie and you're a little more prepared going into something like Ends, maybe if it doesn't catch you by surprise, it's a little easier to digest because I think the film still looks good. It sounds great. I think the
Hmm.
performances are there. But yeah, I see what you're saying a lot about the reversing. Like I think Jamie Lee's like Laurie should have been kind of reversed, She should have been like a little more hopeful in the first one and then a little more, grimy and Sarah Connor in the last one. But I guess that's what happens when you only do the first film, not planning for the next two, right? That's one of the dangers you get into, because they're like, well, we'll do this first film and hopefully it's a hit. If not, it can end here, similarly to the first film. And then, like just like the pandemic sparked your physical media collecting, it just seemed to sort of derail that story, unfortunately, to follow, one of the many casualties of the COVID pandemic. And then we don't even have to talk about Exorcist Believer, what came with David Gordon Green after that, because it seems like that it was even worse than even the people that didn't like Ends were like, man, I'd rather watch Halloween Ends than watch that.
I can't believe how much money Blumhouse spent on that. $400 million.
Yeah. Well, that's why they gave it over to Flanagan, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
You have to get something out of that. Like, you can't just give up. Hey, what's happening? What's happening, Aaron? Great to see you. Gonna turn up the volume, listen while taking it. Ooh, I listen to YouTube in the shower too. I do. What can you do? Sometimes I gotta listen to someone stream or whatever. I'm into sports, so sometimes catch up on the sports news, while being in the shower.
Yeah, I love sports. Yeah, hell yeah, man. Niners, Blazers, like I could talk sports forever.
Yeah, because we talked about this a little bit before we started the show. You're in the Pacific Northwest. So are you in the greater Portland area?
Portland metro area, yeah.
Okay. Cool. And man, Blazers games are something else. Like, I loved going to Blazers games. And even the Timbers is like a pretty wild atmosphere,
Yeah, the Timbers, we probably lost people now, but
everyone's like,
Portland Timbers, man. It's just a great atmosphere. And the Blazer games, when it's a playoff, it's incredible, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're very passionate about those teams for sure. But yeah.
And you grew up with Niners instead of Seahawks, right? I'm guessing that's a family.
Well, I'm actually from California, so Merced, California, northern California, and yeah, I that's how basically I became like a 49ers fan. No one in my family, literally no one in my family, is a sports fan, and so yeah, so I just gravitated towards that when I was younger, and I just Niners have always been my team, and so.
They're a good team to be a fan of. They've had a really nice, solid run here after, there was a little bit of doldrums there for a bit in the earlier 2000s. But man, the last 10 years or so, 15 years, like pretty solid. I mean, I know the big ones eluded you guys, but a lot of teams would give their left nut to just at least show up in the game, right?
Yeah, it's just still, very fortunate, as a Niners fan, but damn it.
You guys got hosed on that first one against Kansas City. Was like there's that pass interference call that I'm not even a fan, where I'm just like, offensive pass interference for a push off, and it looks like all they were doing were like touching each other, which seems pretty normal. I'm just like, okay. They'll get him though. They'll get him.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, they got it. So you got to sign Trent Williams. You got to sign Ayuk. Quit playing around.
Yeah,
I know Trent Williams is looking for some money, so it's like you got to pay him first, or else Brock Purdy ain't going to be able to do much, right?
He's left tackle, so yep.
Yeah, and then shit or get off the pot with Ayuk,
Yeah.
That's the way I like. If I were a fan of the Niners, I'd be like, look, either pay him or get rid of him and find somebody that can work within the scheme, because the season's starting here pretty damn soon,
Yeah.
So it's like, get something going. But yeah, man, you guys are hell of a team. Now, I don't think we lost many people. I think we just gained one. So there we go. But let's see here. Jamie has a question for you. Jamie Hart, one of our lovely, lovely subscribers. She's seen every movie in the theater, just so you know. And she wants to know if you like Twin Peaks.
To be honest with you, I actually haven't seen Twin Peaks. I know Twin Peaks. I know the movie, and David Lynch. But I need to check that out. I know it's on HBO for a long time. I know almost everything about the damn thing. The series, and gosh, the main star. He was in Dune.
Kyle MacLachlan.
Yeah, Kyle MacLachlan. I mean, yeah. So
Yeah.
he's actually in Showgirls
Showgirls. Yeah.
as well. So, but yeah, so I need to check it out.
Yeah, I do too, Jamie. I've just seen like little bits here and there, you know, and I've seen it parodied on like The Simpsons and other stuff like that. But
It's
I've
so
heard
funny
like,
because I like David Lynch. I've seen,
mhm,
Mulholland Drive,
mhm.
Lost Highway, and
Blue Velvet. Have you seen that one?
Blue Velvet. That's one I haven't seen. I picked it up for the Criterion sale. I need to check that one out. But yeah, I mean, I really liked all the films that I've seen. They're just weird ass
Yeah.
films, which is up
Yeah,
my alley.
yeah, very interesting and bizarre. I love there's a like years ago when like watching movies on your phone became like a thing. There's some sort of interview. He's at like a college and they're like, what do you think about, you know, people watching movies on their phones or on like tablets? And he's like, it's bullshit. he just has, he just gives them he's like, the fact that you would take like all those people do all that work and then you would watch it on something this big. He's like, it's bullshit. I'm like,
Mhm.
I love that. I bet David Lynch and John Carpenter get together and you know, get cranky about stuff together and smoke cigarettes and drink beer and all that stuff.
Oh man, heck yeah. That'd be awesome. What is it? William Franken? He's another one, just like, you know, straight shooter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's no bullshitter, man.
Friedkin, the guy that did
Friedkin, yeah.
the Exorcist.
Exorcist 3,
Yeah.
or no, Exorcist, and yeah. So anyway,
And then,
yeah.
did he do To Live and Die in
He did.
LA? Is that
Yeah.
him as well? Okay.
Mhm.
That movie's really good. You know, if you guys like gritty 80s cop dramas, that's like right there. You know, similar to like what's his face, William Peterson, who was in that, and of course he was in the CSI show. He was in the original Manhunter movie,
Mm.
which was like based on the Red Dragon book. So it's like the first
Mhm.
Hannibal Lecter movie.
Mhm.
And he's really good in that. I feel like he's playing kind of a similar, you know, you get a similar feel there from him. But man,
Yeah,
To Live
and
and Die
William
in
Dafoe
LA.
is in To Live and Die in LA, which he's,
Yeah.
to me, one of my favorite actors of all time.
Oh my God, he's so good. He's such a great villain. And I heard in that movie, the fake money they were making was so real that the actual feds like came out to the set to take a look at it to make sure that like
what?
everything was like cool. They're like, it's okay that you're making fake money for your movie, but we got wind that it's like a bit too close, so we want to make sure. Like that's, you know, yeah, he's a fabulous villain there.
Yeah, one of my movies, at least that I can remember right now, the first movie that I saw William Dafoe was Boondock Saints.
Oh yeah,
which is a total
he's hilarious
different
in that
character.
movie.
Yeah, and so I loved him in that movie, and I just went and saw like a bunch of William Dafoe movies because, yeah, he's just an amazing talent.
Oh my God. And he just, whatever he does, he just throws himself into it. It seems like the guy is still in ridiculously good shape, even in his older years. You know, he just stays so active and everything. And yeah, I mean, The Lighthouse, like he just totally blew me away.
Yeah, and he's in Nosferatu coming up.
Oh yeah. That'll be perfect. I can't wait. Him and Bill should have like a buggy-eyed staring contest. That's something that they should do. Like they don't have to do it in the film, but like they should just like shoot it and like release it as a special feature. When you get a nice thick box, when like you know, when Vinegar Syndrome puts out the nice big box set of Nosferatu, there should be a bug-eyed staring contest. And then maybe an episode of Hot Ones or something like that. I don't know, just some sort of special marketing or whatever you got. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny, man.
Has Bill been on Hot Ones? That might be the only show
I don't know.
and movie he's not been in. He's one of those guys where like whenever someone's like, hey, if you recasted blank movie, who would you put in it? And everyone's like, Bill Skarsgård. That's it. I'm out of here. He's like the trump card that you just throw on the table and you're like, that's it. He's going to play Freddy Krueger. He's going to be Pennywise. He's going to be Nosferatu. He'll be the motherfucking crow. Like, screw it, you know?
Oh, man.
Are you a Crow fan? Are you Looking
Uh,
forward to that new one, or what do you
no,
think?
no, no, I'm
No.
not. I like the new one. I saw it again when I got the 4K, and that is a great movie.
Yeah. Yeah, that
But
original?
yeah, yeah,
Oh my god.
um,
Yeah.
94 or is it
Yeah.
96? I can't
That's
remember.
it. 94,
But
yeah.
yeah, and so, but yeah, I'm not looking forward to it at all for the new one. So,
Yeah. It's
uh,
it's for the new generation, Frank. You said
which,
you
uh,
grew up in the 80s,
mhm.
right? What year were you born?
So I'm 41, and so I
Okay.
grew
Oh,
up,
we're right there.
83. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm an 82 baby. We're right there.
Oh,
Okay.
there you go. Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
look so young. I couldn't tell. We're just a couple of
Thanks.
guys, over 40 years old talking about how young we still look. It's totally normal, folks. Welcome to the chat.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I totally understand, and I'm still like here for it. Just I think every new generation kind of needs something just like The Crow or whatever,
Yeah.
and just I actually just talked about it with Ken Sledgehammer Horror, the stream that we just did, and Kylie's kind of gateway of the Scream franchise, if I remember right, was Scream 4. It was like their
Mm,
generation because she's pretty young,
yeah.
and and which is great because I think everyone kind of needs that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And
I guess for
Scream
us.
4 is awesome. That's a great one to have as your introduction because I think that's one of the best ones. Like that's my favorite besides the first movie,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
And it's true. It's like you do like it's totally I think the big mistake they made, and I said it here before, is naming the character Eric Draven is the mistake. And so it's one of those things where it's like if you just named him something else, you would probably sell a lot more tickets. But I get it. It is just something that's not every movie is going to be for everyone, and they're clearly going for people that are in high school to like mid to late 20s is it seems like that's like the audience for this new Crow film. So
Mhm.
I know it's pissed off a bunch of people and everything, but I'm just like, it's just a movie and you don't even know until you see it. Like it could be good for all we know. Who the heck
Mhm.
knows?
Yeah.
But
So.
it doesn't look as stylized. The original film definitely has that like graphic novel feel, feels like it exists in like an exaggerated version of our world, similarly to
Mhm.
like Tim Burton's Batman, like a really cool vibe. And it doesn't seem like they're really, it seems like in the new one they are just going for straight realism, not really something that looks too as far as like the setting goes, it doesn't look too stylized.
Man, I fucking loved Tim Burton's like the vision, his weird gothic type of
Hmm.
gritty
Yeah.
city. Like
Yeah.
I'm 41, so I grew up with the Batman. I remember
Yeah.
having the little action figure and the
Mhm.
Batmobile and everything, and yeah, I just love how dark the first two Batmans were.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I mean Tim Burton. I mean, I just Edward Scissorhands. I mean, I could just go on.
Yeah.
Like the early Tim Burton movies. So,
Beetlejuice.
jeez, man, yeah, that's
Yeah,
a
just the
classic.
imagination and yeah, being able to take Batman and like make it, it looks like it's in the 30s or 40s, that Batman 89, but it's at least when he's like a kid, it looks like it's like 30s or 40s, but then it looks pretty modern once he's older. So I like that it doesn't really, that Gotham is just sort of its own thing where it's like Art Deco and Gothic culture, can I talk Gothic architecture, and then mixed with the modern as well. So yeah, I think that there's
Hmm.
something just so you have to transport, you have to kind of take people out of the world they're living in, and when they sit down in that theater seat or they put the movie on at home, you want them transported to another place. And I think that's one of the things that, yeah, the first two Tim Burton Batman movies definitely do that. And then it totally goes off the rails and immerses you in a wacky world after that. I mean, Batman Forever's got like some really good stuff going for it, I think. Um, I think Val Kilmer's pretty darn good if you have to replace Michael Keaton, but yeah, I don't know. Those Joel Schumacher movies, I just don't know about those. like the glow sticks and like the neon, like
Oh,
all the paint that's like, it's, you know, it's just like, what's happening
yeah.
here?
On
Um,
4K, it looks gorgeous, but oh my goodness, yeah,
but
just the
well,
style and
and
everything. Yeah.
it's sort of like this is supposed to be the same universe. I think that's the part that is like dissonant in my head, is like this is supposed to be like within that same storyline. It's not like they rebooted it, even though, you know, in a lot of ways they did. It's still technically following that. So yeah, it was an odd time, you know, comic book movies for us kids growing up in the 80s. It was like you didn't really have much, you know, and it's
Mm-mm.
wild to see. Like, I used to daydream about what an X-Men movie would be like in the early 90s when I was watching the cartoon show. Like,
Y-
little did I know that we'd be swimming in like more comic book movies than we can count nowadays.
Yeah, I brought it up in one of my interviews with Knight from the Night Watch Zone. How growing up in the 80s was fucking awesome, man. Especially if you love the horror genre. When we were younger, like they had just amazing cartoons.
Hmm.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes,
Hmm.
Ghostbusters. I
Yeah.
mean, just fantastic. Beetlejuice. I mean, you could literally just go on,
Yeah.
because like for a lot of people growing up, like it was like Scooby Doo, but like for us,
Sure.
like that decade was just a weird experimental, but like just a fun decade. And I'm very fortunate that I grew up around that time because it just
Yeah.
made me a huge horror fan. And then especially the gateway into horror was cartoons, which is super smart, very smart. For people to do that,
Yeah.
and so I loved it, man. I just loved it, and it's a good just discussion. I mean, because like
Yeah.
later on, it was like Goosebumps, or Afraid of the Dark, Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
I mean, just like early, just early 90s, mid 90s type of stuff that like they kind of kept it going in some ways.
Mhm.
And so, yeah,
Yeah,
shoot,
and
man,
I
it was great.
the gateway stuff, even like I don't think it was like Nick at Night, but wherever I saw like the original Twilight Zone episodes when I was a kid, like just flipping around and happening to catch one of those, because some of those episodes had a little bit of like a horror element or just something a little spooky going on. Like not every single one, but that was definitely, you know, and that reaches back to like the 60s. And then you were
Hmm.
talking cartoons in the 80s. I mean, man, I'm like Ninja Turtles. I remember that being like the biggest thing in the
Hmm.
friggin' world when the Ninja Turtles made it big. And I still love, I mean, that first film to me just gets
Oh, it's
better and
oh my
better with
gosh.
age. Like it is so damn good. It's the perfect blend of the comic and what we fell in love with, you know, with the cartoons as
And
kids.
Shredder was pretty damn intimidating, man.
Oh yeah.
I remember watching it when I was younger, obviously, and I was like, "Holy crap, Shredder's
Yeah.
kind of scary."
Yeah,
Yeah,
and they've got
loved it.
like they have Splinter chained up and they're clearly like not treating him well. And it's just like there's some real like gritty kind of, you know, some more adult themes in there as far as like really good emotional moments with the turtles all like having the seance and connecting with Splinter like at the campfire. You know, there's the moment early on where Raphael talks with Splinter and he tells him that like you're
Mm-hmm.
different than all your brothers because like you choose to suffer silently, and Raph is like crying and stuff, and I'm just like, man, these are like, you know, you don't, when you're a little kid in the theater, you're just excited to see the Ninja Turtles and it all works and everything. It wasn't too heavy for me as a kid, but now, you know, as a guy in his 40s, when I watch these little kid movies, I'm like, man, they've got like, this is why we love this as a kid,
Mm-hmm.
is because there were some themes, even though we didn't know what was going on there. There's so much more meat on the bone. It's not just fluff, you know?
Mm-hmm. And also, there was that realism in the sense of how it looked, the practical effects, the
Yeah.
just dude,
Yeah.
it's the 80s, man. It like for the most part, it was
Hmm.
it all looked so damn good and it was
Yeah.
very believable. So when you add that into visually, aesthetic and just like how it looked, yeah, I just loved it. Turtles and was it Ooze? Second one,
Secret of the Ooze.
Secret of the Ooze. Yeah, just a great one too. Shoot,
That
man.
that one I feel a little like that one's one of those where I'm like it's fun. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. It doesn't age for as well as the
Oh,
first
for
one does
sure.
for me
Yeah,
because
yeah,
they totally pull it back. They kind of remove those adult more like elements and they make it
Vanilla
just
Ice.
vanilla friggin' ice. And instead of having, we had to sell more toys, so we couldn't have Rocksteady and Bebop. We had to have like second rate, Tonka and Razor or whatever. Come on.
Yeah.
But you are right. Shredder is really really intimidating. The whole the whole scene that the foot soldiers have going on down there in the warehouse district. Love a young Sam Rockwell there talking about like, do you want the menthols or the regulars or whatever? Like that's I don't know how many people missed that's him. I definitely missed it when I was a little kid because he wasn't a star yet. But now
Okay.
he's like one of the featured teens that like is recruiting people for the Foot Clan when they're in the warehouse. And you blink and you miss it because he didn't have another film until I don't know, like late 90s. So it was like at least that like I think the next time I saw him was like Galaxy Quest, something like that, So yeah, what a fun movie. What a damn fun movie.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so I think now is a good time to sort of wrap things up. It goes by quick. We've been chatting for about just a little over an hour and a half. It just goes by like that. Now you've got this coming Monday. I want to give the date so everyone can check it out. So this Monday, the 5th, right?
Yep, August 5th.
August 5th. You're going to be doing a video with the two Kens, Ashley, Daniel, and John.
Yeah, John. Yep.
John. All right.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Can you remind us all here, Frank, just what you're covering on that video?
Oh, yeah. What it is we're talking actually about horror films, 2024 horror films, like what are our favorites and what we're looking forward to, stuff like that. Kind of just thought about it just because the 2020s have kind of been some mixed bags, but I think this year is, not too bad. I think we've gotten some really good films lately.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to talk about it. And so I was just eager and wanting to invite people and get their opinions. And like I said, my channel is physical media and discussing horror genre because I've done other horror related videos. And so I love discussing the horror genre. I love getting people's their history, what type of movies they love, because everyone is so different. The horror genre is so broad. There's so many different things that people love and just like. And so I just simply love it. I love discussing it.
Yeah, and to me it's always just fascinating to just hear people's perspectives, because it's like maybe the next time you watch that movie you like can think about it from their sort of point of view and see how it changes the way you feel about the film. And I think what's been really cool about 2024 for horror specifically is like there's just been like a little bit of something for everyone. It doesn't seem like like last year we had like a couple pockets where it seemed like a lot of more like supernatural kind of, there was like a theme. It was like the supernatural kind of horror theme in 2023. It was Talk to Me 2023, I think so.
Yep.
And like Evil Dead Rise and When Evil Lurks and all that kind of stuff. And then here in this year, it's like, it just seems all over the place in the best possible way. So, I mean, to go from something like Late Night with the Devil, Immaculate, Abigail, and then Long Legs, and then we're getting Terrifier 3 here in a couple months, and then finishing it up with something classy like Nosferatu. It's I think 2024, hopefully we'll be able to look back on it and be like, man, that was a banger year for horror. Came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, I recently did a review for Oddity. That's one movie that I highly recommend. I mean, it's going to be talked about in the stream, but I simply just loved it. I loved it so damn much that I saw it 2 nights in a row. I've only done that twice this year for a movie. First one was Dune Part 2. And then Oddity is just fantastic, man. It's a
Wow.
great yeah, just it's a I don't know, man. It's if you've seen so the director is Damian McCarthy, who did Caveat, and it's just great. I don't know, the theme, the atmosphere. It's very unsettling in some moments, and it just goes somewhere that you just think it goes, and it just turns it, and it's just fantastic movie, man. Highly.
Yeah.
Unfortunately though, it went in and out in the movie theater. So
Yeah, I've been hearing really
yeah.
good things about it, and I didn't honestly, like, I didn't know hadn't even heard of it until what, it was like the week after Longlegs came out is when I just saw people's reviews dropping. I had never even heard of the movie before.
Yeah, I didn't really hear anything about it. Was it until I watched someone on YouTube mention, oh, it was Ken, a friend from Sledgehammer Horror. Him and his wife
Nice.
reviewed the movie, and I was like, what the hell is this? And so the way
Yeah.
they were describing it, it just sounded really interesting. And I cut like halfway of their video because I wanted to experience the movie.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it was just a great movie. And you already mentioned it, like we've had some very good movies that hopefully will last a long time.
Yeah.
Long Legs, I mean, Nicolas Cage's performance in that film is just incredible. um
Yeah.
I think so.
Oh, it was that
Yeah.
movie. I couldn't stop thinking about it. Like the next day I woke up and I was just like, man, I got to see Longlegs again. You know, whenever I can, I got to take it in again because yeah, I thought his performance was incredible. Micah Monroe was like, I felt like she really brought it and really stood out. And man, where they put the camera in that movie, how they move the camera when they choose not to move the camera, like there was so much like deliberate placement of that, and I could tell that the cast and crew really had a direction. They knew exactly where they wanted to go, and I feel like whether or not you like the movie, I feel like they accomplished what they set out to accomplish because it
Mm.
definitely is a moody piece.
Oh, for sure. And it takes place here in Oregon. So the
It does, yeah.
Oregonian in me, I was like, hell yeah. What I
Yeah.
was gonna say is like there is literally nothing. Oh, there's some things, but there's nothing like an incredible movie theater experience.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of the things where you exactly just said it, where you need to see that movie again in the theater. Like
Yeah.
it's just a great feeling, and that's one of the things I just really wish that more people would go to the theater. Because if it's not a damn comic book movie or
Mhm.
super popular movie, the revenue just isn't there for the movie
Yeah.
theaters. But I love going to the movie theater. It's just something about it. Like Hereditary is one of my favorite movie theater experiences. Um, I mean, I don't know. It's just fantastic, and I really encourage
Yeah.
people to like go out in the movie theater. I mean, if you have a Regal near you, like I do. There's Regal Unlimited. You paid like
Mhm.
$20, $21 for a month, but it's unlimited. Like you literally can see
Yeah.
a movie multiple times a day, every single day.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Um, and so if you have a Regal, like that's what I encourage, you guys to get. But yeah, exactly. Raymond mentioned it's definitely expensive to be out in the movie theater.
Yeah.
At least I'm assuming that's what he's referring to, because
Yeah.
I have there's five people in my family. It can get pretty damn expensive.
Yeah.
So I totally understand, but yeah,
You bring your kids to Longlegs?
yeah, exactly. Come on, girls.
Are you girls excited for your birthday this year after watching Longlegs?
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, you guys aren't born on the 14th, are you? Okay, just
Yeah.
checking.
I
Some
know, man.
deep cut Longlegs jokes if you haven't seen the movie.
Oh
It's
my
just
goodness, man. Yeah.
um and Chad asks, welcome to the chat, by the way, Chad. He asks, I stepped out of the room for a sec. Did anyone mention Alien Romulus? Anyone excited? I am. I love
Mhm.
what Fede Alvarez does. So I don't expect I think the only way I could be disappointed with Alien Romulus is if it does nothing to expand the lore, because it seems like they're definitely bringing like the look and feel, that I want from an Alien franchise. What about
Can
you,
we
Frank?
talk about the marketing that they have done? Did you see what they did at Comic-Con?
No.
Dude,
I
freaking
missed
A, man.
everything from Comic-Con except for Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom,
I
which
mean,
still doesn't make sense to me, but I guess
how
I'll
could
just
you
wait.
not? Yeah,
It'll be,
it's a variant, of course. But man, so their marketing has been phenomenal, man. Under the seats, so they did a panel, whatever that they did for Comic-Con. Underneath the seats for the panel, they had the face mask.
I
The
did
little
see
creature.
something.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
had
the
it on
face hugger.
there,
Okay.
and then they did like little videos or whatever of people, just on the floor or on the ground, you know, being pretending that they're gonna, they're
Yeah.
dying or just whatever. But oh my gosh, like, and then of course like the popcorn bucket
Yeah.
that they've had. I mean, so and Alvarez
They did
has
a
VHS.
Yeah, they did a VHS teaser.
Like, yeah, their marketing has been outstanding.
Yeah, and I mean the imagery looks great. I think Fetty, like with what he did with The Evil Dead in 2013, it's like
Mm,
that's the kind of guy that can just step into somebody else's creation and be like, okay, I totally get it. I'll find a way to like make it familiar to you and everyone that already knows this, but I'm gonna make sure I put my stamp on it, which I think he certainly did with The Evil Dead.
but dude, that is 2013 is that is my favorite in the franchise, and it's one
So
of my
good.
favorite modern horror films. Like,
Oh yeah.
it's incredible, man. I
I
love
never
that.
I never would have thought it would be that good. I think I saw that movie 3 or 4 times in the theater or something like that. It just I had no idea. I'm like, how can they make it so bloody and so like I felt like they found the tone of the original film and obviously way better
And just
effects. But they
yeah,
went back to that serious tone, which I really appreciate the serious tone. I don't mind like Evil Dead 2 was my favorite when I first got into the franchise.
yeah.
But then the
Yeah.
older I got, I'm just more like, I like the serious tone. Like that original is still one of my favorites of all time.
Yeah, same here. Evil Dead 2013, and then the original. Those are my 1 and 2. So
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
so good.
Well, in Fetty we trust, I think what they should do,
Yeah.
it would be great if what they could do is you take the face hugger thing and it has the tube that like goes down your mouth.
Yeah.
So they need a face hugger that's like the top of like a slushy, and you get like a slushy and you have to like put the face hugger on your face and like swallow the straw.
As partner with 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
They'll call it, instead of the big gulp, it'll be called the deep throat. The Alien Romulus deep throat, and people will be like, serious though? People will be like, what? No good?
Yeah.
No good?
That's a good one.
If Fetty says it'll work, trust me. Well, thank you so much for coming by, Frank. This has been really awesome. Getting to know you a bit and chit-chatting about movies and our, collecting addictions and how we deal with that. It's important stuff for us to work out with each other. Really looking forward to checking out it's a live you're doing on Monday, right?
Yes, sir. Yep. 7 p.m.
Yeah.
So, 10 p.m. Eastern. But yeah, it's going to be a fun collab video.
Absolutely.
And I just can't wait.
Yeah, you guys aren't going to want to miss that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the link in the description below. So if you're watching this after the fact, you can check out that stream over on Frank's page. If you guys haven't subbed yet, go over there, give him a sub. Come on, do it. Please do it. Please do it for me. And what we'll do here as well is we have the Instagram link and the Twitter link in the description also, so you guys can follow him on all the socials and keep track of what he's doing. And, if you have that FOMO, or if you want to get some of that physical media FOMO in your life, Frank's channel is a great place to do it because he's got so many awesome physical media pickups. He's always showing off. So really appreciate you spending some time with us here tonight, Frank. And yeah, man, say hello to the Pacific Northwest for me. I miss that rain.
It's glorious, man. I love it. I'm like Bane.
Oh, it,
I just love it.
I miss it so much, and now I'm in the desert. So anytime there's like 2 drops, I'm like, like it's
Dude,
a
that's so
tease.
funny.
Makes me feel a little bit like I'm at home. So,
Oh my goodness.
all right, man.
Oh,
Well,
that's
yeah, we'll
great.
have to catch up another time and put something together. I think
Yeah.
one of the fun things about getting to know folks is like, we can chat offline. We can figure out a good little collab of our own. Perhaps maybe we can start a sports show. That would be really fun. See how many folks in the horror world are into sports as well. When I was playing punk rock all the time, I'd find like the one person that I could talk sports with at a show, and everyone else was always like, oh, you fucking jocks. And it's like, I'm a jock just because I like sports. Like,
Yeah.
what?
Oh man, yeah. John from Let's Talk Entertainment Media, he's a Jets fan, so like we kind of we do a collab, a collector's corner, every once a month, and so like we just kind of shoot the shit with like sports, because we just love it, man. It's who we are. So
Maybe once football season comes up, it would be fun to do a little like roundup of all the games on like Monday night or something, or Tuesday, something like that. And we can do all of them, right? That could be pretty fun. I would be interested to see how many folks in the other part, in this part of the community would come on over there for that. Well, hell yeah, man. This has been great. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. And we will see you next time around.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Yeah, nice seeing everyone.
Take care, Frank. All right, everybody. How y'all doing in the chat? We've still got about a dozen or so folks hanging out with us. How cool is that? Getting to know, yet another content creator in the space is just incredible, guys. I feel like as the show's gone on, this is the 12th episode, and I feel like I know I'm saying it every week, but it's like it is such an awesome opportunity to get to know somebody that I just, watch their videos, comment on their stuff, or maybe, send them a message or a comment or two. So really, really cool to spend some time here with Frank. That physical media collecting world is it's just so impressive that people can, keep up on it. And I respect and love that passion because I enjoy collecting that vinyl, and even some of the stuff that I've got here, like, Frank showed off that really cool Dawn of the Dead box, that UK box that I would imagine those are all Blu-ray 6-disc set. And then I've got my cool little Ultimate Edition. I think it was Anchor Bay that did that back in like 2004 of the DVDs. It's like a 4-disc set. So yeah, really fun to just see how that whole world has evolved. And how much can change. It was 20 years ago that they did that, and then here we are with these gorgeous, the box sets in and of themselves are pieces of art. So pretty incredible stuff. Let's see what you guys are saying here in the chat. All right, Raymond says he subbed to Frank when he saw his My First Horror Movie on Sledgehammer. That's awesome. Hell yeah. Jamie says, nope, not drinking liquid out of a face hugger's appendage. Why not, Jamie? Why not? Come on, it would be fun. If I do it, would you do it? I don't know. We'll see. Jamie subbed as well. That's awesome. Hell yeah. Big Rod says, shout out to fantasy football. Man, I played fantasy a couple years, and man, maybe I need to get back into it. To me, sometimes like I start thinking like I get my own ego wrapped up in the fantasy game instead of just enjoying the football games. So I don't know which, how I quite feel about fantasy football. I remember though, Big Rod, when I was a kid, my oldest brother, Matt, did fantasy football way back when you kept track of everything on paper, and you had one guy for the whole league that was responsible of like going through the stat line in the actual sports page on the newspaper and checking people's points. So then you have people complaining about, well, no, I actually get this many points because of this, and just all sorts of stuff. Now it's all digital. It seems like a lot, way easier to do the fantasy football game for sure. Eli says NFL team tier list. So what kind of criteria would we do, Eli? I'm interested. Would you do like just how good of a team they've been throughout history? Are we talking just Super Bowl wins? Are we talking their like logos and designs and all that kind of stuff? Like, how would we rank them? I'm interested to know what kind of criteria. I guess you could just do it all, right? You could do like NFL team logo or team mascot and just go ahead and rank those. And then you could do, gosh, you could even do just like Super Bowl winner tier rankings, could be pretty exciting. Almost like do like a tournament and then end up, put it into a tier list at the end. I don't know. Thanks for coming by, Gory. Hope you have a great rest of your night. All right. That was a 4K set. Yes, there we go. Okay, so 4K. So even better than the Blu-ray. I've not seen Dawn of the Dead in 4K. I wonder how that looks. Sometimes with the older movies, I just wonder if they, if they really look better in 4K or if they're just meant to be a bit grittier. Aaron collects 4K and it's hard to keep up. So much is being so much is being released all the damn time. It seems like every week you have to do a roundup on each boutique label and what they've announced. Yeah. That's fun. It's like baseball card collecting. Like I was into that as a kid. And it seems like, it's just like you're chasing that, like, what's the next thing that I really got to get, Or, you start looking at the anniversaries, right? You look at your calendar and you're like, oh, like this is like Return of the Living Dead is coming out. It'll be the 40th anniversary of Return of the Living Dead next year. And it's like, they're going to put something out, right? It's pretty funny or pretty fun. Played fantasy once. It was fun, but I wasn't good at it. Yeah, I'm not a fantasy winner. The way that Kate and I do it is we just put on like the Red Zone channel and we bounce around. So we like to see a little bit of everything, like I can get invested in any game, even though I'm a Washington fan. I'll watch whoever. My team hasn't been good since the early 90s. So so I've had a lot of time to enjoy watching other teams that actually can play football well. Damn, Big Rod is in a league that's been around since 92. So all about the paper days. All about the paper days. Through history. Okay. Franchise ranking through history. Dynasty rankings. Okay, there we're talking. That's good. You could do dynasty rankings. Absolutely. Yeah. Have I seen the 40th anniversary box set for A Nightmare on Elm Street 4K? I just saw the artwork that everyone was tearing apart on socials at the end of last week for the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie, that 4K. I haven't seen any box set stuff. I might have actually like scanned by. I don't know if it was Christian over at Planet CHH that had done a video about him, but I saw a little bit of it, but didn't actually sit down and watch the vid yet. Just pre-ordered it yesterday. Damn, Eli, Eli needs. I know you said you don't have socials. Even if you don't want to do a YouTube channel, Eli, it would be really cool to be able to show off your collection. So even if you want to do like an Insta that's just about the collection, I think that would be really fun. I mean, I would like to see what you have in your collection because it sounds like it's pretty impressive and ongoing. So share it with the world. They do generally look better on 4K. Okay, says Aaron, I don't necessarily subscribe to it's better at lower resolution. Yeah, and I don't think so either. I think what it is for me is it's like how much care gets put into that transfer. I've seen some, when they made the move to Blu-ray, I've seen some Blu-rays that look good. I've seen some Blu-rays that don't look so good. Like I have a copy of The Fly on Blu-ray, and I think it's, an older version of the film, and it looks pan and scan. Like even though it's widescreen, it still looks, there's something like really odd about the way they did the transfer where it looks like almost like a British television show that was on video. So it looks HD, but it looks HD video. It's just a little too smooth. There's no like natural like blurring or anything that looks like it was ever analog. And I imagine that film, it was shot on film. So yeah, so that's good to know though about 4Ks that it's a bit more, reliable in that way. Nicholas says there's 35 likes. Holy shit, that's a lot of likes for a late night with the Davey stream. Thank you so much to everyone that's tuned in, hung out, and hit that like button, of course. Raymond said my family used to pick games. My dad and I usually did really good. Yeah, little pick'em, little family pick'em. That'd be fun. We could do a little pick'em here on the channel. I like that. Oh, it is the first one, just a big box set of just the first. Wow, man, I got to check it out. I really enjoy that first Nightmare on Elm Street movie. That's my favorite one of the bunch. What's happening, Chris Snyder? How you doing? Chris from Movie Misfits. I don't need to tell you to go sub over to his channel because I say it all the damn time. So everybody, you know what? I'll say it one more time. One more time, Chris. Go on over to Movie Misfits, give him a sub. Chris, you're going to be going live here, what, in a couple days? I think you're going to be talking about your convention experience, doing a little Ask Me Anything. Guys, set the notification for that one. A few months ago, 3 or 4 months ago, I used to catch Chris live all the time, but he's working on some really cool projects that are taking up his time for pre-recorded vids. And so this is the first time he's been live in quite a while. So tune in and let's soak up that convention experience. I have to live vicariously through people like Chris. I went to Days of the Dead earlier this year, but I don't know. We'll see if there might be another con in my future for 2024. We'll just see how it all shakes out there. Nicholas says, I normally don't buy 4K. I'm okay with Blu-rays. I really I think Blu-rays are, just like the perfect sweet spot for me. But who knows? Maybe I do have some 4Ks, although I don't have a 4K player. It's just every now and then when I go to, grab a Blu-ray from the store and it's like $3 more for the version that comes with the 4K. I'm like, well, I'm just going to get that. So I have a handful of them for sure. Everyone's saying, what's up to Chris? Oh, yeah. Nicholas loves my energy and how happy and positive I am. Well, that's really sweet of you to say, Nicholas. I mean, man, can you imagine what the show would be like if I came on and I was like, guys, I just don't have it today. And, maybe there will come a time where that happens. Who knows? Or I have to reschedule something if I'm sick or something like that. Who knows? Yeah, man, I really appreciate that. Honestly, today I was not feeling so hot. Like last night, I started feeling pretty run down. And today I woke up and it was not good, but I was able to rest up. And I think another thing too about doing shows like this, Nicholas, and running your own channel and everything is you find that within yourself. And even if you have to fake it till you make it, it's folks like you in the audience and in the chat. And of course, the folks that are watching after the fact that they just really, fuels my energy for this kind of thing. So thank you so much for the kind words. Oh, hell yeah. Chris is going live Friday and Sunday. Hell yeah, guys. Go over there, give him a sub. Set those notifications. I love when Chris goes live. I will be there in the chat bugging everyone. I promise. There you go, Raymond. Hell yeah. Boom. I'm a goat. Is that what goats do? Is that the bleeding sound? I don't know. Hoffman was really cool and nice and funny. He was fun to hang around with. Hell yeah. That's the coolest thing about meeting folks at conventions is just being able to connect with them, right? And I think that's something that's really special about the horror community. Us as fans and of course the performers, right? They realize that, and I know the actor who played Hoffman is in, multiple movies, and I'm sure he's been, in other projects outside of that. But I think what's so amazing is even if you were in one movie in an entire franchise, for the rest of your life, people are going to want to meet you and get you to sign pictures. And it's, a way to sort of make a living or supplement your living, just, to hang out with people and connect with the fans. It's amazing. Chris loves 4K, but doesn't need everything in 4K. Yeah, absolutely. I hear you. I'm the same way. Yeah. Me too, Jamie. Oh, I have the 4K TV, Jamie. I just don't have the player. So I need to upgrade and get a good 4K player. I would imagine PS5 is 4K, but I don't even know. Gotcha. Aaron says many Blu-rays are pretty close to 4K picture-wise, but some 4Ks are night and day difference. Yeah, I would imagine. Especially, I'm really looking forward to, I know they did a remaster or a new transfer of The Hitcher. And I'm really looking forward to that because I watched that movie for the first time earlier this year. And I watched this just really dirty. It was dark and really difficult to see. The transfer wasn't good. So I'm really looking forward to seeing, what it looks like after getting a good treatment. Boom. Shout out to good vibes and lifting each other up. Absolutely, Big Rod. We got to. Sometime when Chris isn't busy, he needs to be a guest here. Yeah, we'll make it happen. We'll make it happen. Yeah, as Chris says here, we've had talks. Yeah, we're gonna make it work. It's something that both of us want to have happen, and of course, finding the right time for the schedule and making sure it works with the rest of our lives. Yeah. Jamie on Late Night with the Davey as her return. I would love to have Jamie on here as well when she's ready. She knows she is welcome. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm feeling a lot better than I felt earlier today, Nicholas. Thank you so much. I took like a 3-hour nap, which was sorely needed. So, and then I've got some home remedies here. So, Kate's been taking care of me with some chicken broth and all that kind of good stuff as well. What's happening, Mark? Great to see ya. We have wrapped up with Frank and we're just sort of hanging out. And I guess, now is a good time for me to bring up a couple things that I spoke about at the beginning of the stream, guys, because this weekend, Kate is going to be busy hanging out. Okay, PS5. So I do need to upgrade because I just have a PS4 still. I'm still rolling with the PS4. So Kate has got some gal pal hangouts this weekend. So we're going to have to put off doing Sky Sharks. That's a sentence that I never thought I would say in my life. Guys, we will be watching Sky Sharks. Honestly, we want to what's happening, Antonis? Doing great. Just wrapping up the show here. So we want to be able to watch Sky Sharks at least once, probably just once, before hopping on the watch party. Because when we watch, we have the computer in front of us, with the webcam and everything. So we can't really see the entire TV. And we're reading subtitles with the sound down and everything. So we're going to be catching up with Sky Sharks probably the weekend after this one. We'll just see how it all works out. We'll let you guys know. But I would still like to have a little watch party with you guys on Saturday. So let me know either in the chat or in the comments. And I'll also do like a community post. Maybe I'll give you guys like a poll of a handful of movies to select from. But guys, let me know if there's anything you want to see me do a watch along for. A little watch party this weekend. We'll hang out. We'll get into some trivia. We'll chit chat, all that kind of fun stuff. Should be a really good time. So yeah, just let me know. And I'm trying to think, was there something else I was going to do today? Oh, I don't know. Kind of slipped my... Oh, I do want to let you guys know I'm going to be wrapping up editing on the Tales from the Crypt. My very first episode for covering the Tales from the Crypt series. We're going to be kicking it off with the very first episode. It's called The Man Who Was Death, starring William Sadler and directed by Walter Hill. It is an awesome first episode of the show, and I can't wait to start that series with you guys. We're going to start with the first 4 seasons, and I mean, as I go through these seasons, I'm going to hunt down the other, like the remaining, I think there's 7 altogether. So I'll hunt down those remaining 3 seasons because we'll go through every single show. And I am going to skip, I think it's called An All Through the House. The second episode, which is a Christmas episode. I'm going to skip that one, cover it closer to Christmas. So I'll go through the show in order, but if there are any sort of holiday themed episodes, I'm going to, put them in a spot right around that holiday, just so we've got some good content, surrounding the day itself. So yeah. What's happening, Gavin? Gavin says Sky Sharks. Oh yeah. I'm pumped. I'm going to start working on the thumbnail so we can get that all figured out. And I will say this, the art for Sky Sharks is pretty amazing stuff. Like the movie looks incredibly cheesy, but these like mech covered giant sharks flying through the air. I mean, it's amazing. It's beautiful. Giger would be like, yes. Raymond says you should see Avalanche Sharks. Cheesy fun. All right. I have not heard of Avalanche Sharks. Jeez. The shark, like the cheesy shark movies, that's got to be one of the biggest, biggest subgenres of like bad movies that you want to watch. Like you're like, oh God, give me like the cheesiest shark movie of all time. Like I think Sharknado really proved that you can get as ridiculous as you want and people will show up for sharks. Nicholas wants me to watch The Fog. Okay. All right, guys. So we got The Fog on the list. I'm going to add that to the list. Boom. I'd imagine you're talking about the original, Nicholas. I've never seen the remake. I don't know if I ever will. Chris Snyder says, I'm excited about it. I love Tales from the Crypt. Me too, Chris. It was one of those shows that as a kid I would like sneak off. You know, I didn't have HBO growing up, but there was like that one free week you would get in the summer or whatever where they'd try to like hook you on you know, ordering it. My parents never wanted to get HBO. They definitely didn't want me watching things like Tales from the Crypt, but I would during that week. And then if I ever stayed the night at a friend's house on the weekend, you know, I'd stay up late, watch some Tales from the Crypt. So I haven't seen every episode of the show. I've seen a whole bunch, but it was a big part of my childhood and just something that like when I look back on my love for horror and you know, love of like storytelling and just all that kind of stuff, like Tales from the Crypt really sticks out as one of the good ones. And, you know, I had mentioned the Twilight Zone earlier in the interview with Frank during our chat. And to me, Tales from the Crypt is very similar to something like the Twilight Zone. So it's totally my speed. Aaron says, going to see Amel and the Sniffers tomorrow. Davey, check them out. I think you'll like them. I remember you mentioning them during our Jaws stream the other night. So I'm going to look that up as well. There we go. Australian punk rock band. Oh, this looks like a lot of fun. All right. Have they been around for a while? Australian pub rock and punk rock band. This looks great. I like that look, the cutoff shorts and the tucked in, you know, tank top there. It's great. She's got the Tobiases on. I like to call cutoff shorts Tobiases. Raymond says, I wish Tales from the Crypt was on streaming. Yeah. Yeah, it's not on HBO. It's not on Max or whatever. It should be on Max if it's not. When will you make a Bride of Chucky movie review? It's coming soon, Antonis. It's coming soon. So many sharks. Yes on the Fog, says Chris. All right, in my top 3 Carpenter films, hate the remake with a fiery passion. Yeah, I don't see any reason to watch the remake, but I do really love the original Fog as well. I don't know if it's top 3 because there's like The Thing, Halloween, Big Trouble in Little China, Escape from New York, In the Mouth of Madness, The Fog. Those are all like, man, it's really tough to pick a top 3 out of those. But I love the score from The Fog is so good. The atmosphere in The Fog is so good. I think that would be a fun one to watch. I think that would be a really fun one to watch with you guys. Jamie says, I'm in an Army of Darkness kind of mood. Shop smart. Shop S smart. Excellent. Army of Darkness. All right. I'll put together a poll. This will be great. I do have an Army of Darkness steelbook that I picked up not too long ago. I don't always like grab those, but I think I happened to be at Walmart and saw it and it was at a good price and it looked beautiful. And I thought, why the hell not? Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it, Nicholas. Shark and Saw Woman's Prison Massacre. Is that a real movie? Is that a real movie? That is wild. Shark and Saw. Yeah, it auto-populated on YouTube. This is incredible. Tracy Lords is in this movie. Wait a minute. Is this an adult film? It says TV movie, but I'm starting to think that maybe, I don't know. I mean, I know that Tracy Lords, that's her background, although I guess she left that, you know, that whole world. But I just see a bunch of blonde ladies here on the cast, so I just had to ask. Oh, I can't believe there's a movie called that. That's amazing. That's one of those things where it's like you make the title of the movie and then make the movie after. Gavin just watched Bordello of Blood for the first time yesterday. Well, if you put your letterboxed review of it in your stories on Insta, I must have missed it, Gavin. So I'll ask you here, what did you think? I think Bordello of Blood's really fun. I mean, it's so like tongue in cheek and, you know, it's got that. I think what's cool about Tales from the Crypt, and it's, you know, Bordello of Blood has it. Also, Demon Knight carries the same kind of vibe where there's that like dark sense of humor. There's like a certain awareness that what they're doing is like, you know, kind of comic booky. I mean, that's the, you know, the genesis of everything. But I remember liking Bordello of Blood. You know, even with Dennis Miller isn't much of an actor, but there's something about him being in that role where he sort of does feel, you know, like you get that feeling of like, oh, he's supposed to be us. He's supposed to be the audience here. Raymond says, I love fun shark movies. Lasted 2 lines in Exorcist. You got 2 lines of dialogue in before you turned it off. That's about how far I got into Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland. I got about 2 lines, and I mean, like, I started watching that movie, and the first, like, 5 minutes was like, "Oh, but Alice isn't like all the other girls," and I'm like, "Man, they're really like, everyone's talking about this. They're really hammering home that she's not like all the like, I get it, you know, I like, show me. Don't tell me all in the first 5 minutes." I had to bail. I couldn't do it. Ugh. If you haven't seen Bait, that one is actually a fun watch. Shark in a grocery store. Oh my God. Sharni Vincent and Julian McMahon are in it. Very sci-fi channel, but it's actually one of the more fun ones. So what, the grocery store floods and the sharks get in. So it's a little Sharknado in a grocery store kind of vibe. All right. All right. Eli says Tales from the Crypt is out of print. Shit. So I'm going to have to go on quite the hunt to find those other seasons, huh? Or I'm gonna have to pirate them. I don't know. We'll see. I think they've been around for maybe 8 years. Are you talking about let's see here, what are the shark movies? Amel and the Sniffers. Okay. Yeah, they got such a look about them, Aaron, that they just look so old school. And then when I hear pub rock, I'm sort of like, to me, that sort of almost indicates like a moment of time on the pub rock thing. Let's see here. Exorcist Shark was weird. Don't forget John Carpenter's Vampires. So underrated. One of my favorites as well. I think I've only seen that one once, but I do really like it. I love James Woods. I think he's so entertaining in that character, that role. He's such a rock star in that role. I really like the music to that movie as well. I don't know if Chad's still hanging out in the chat, but we were talking about music on a project he is working on. And he told me, you know, he was kind of giving me the vibes of like what he's going for with the music. And he referenced John Carpenter's Vampires. So just about like a month and a half ago, I went back and listened to it. And I really dig that. Yeah. Gavin says we need a Big Trouble in Little China watch along. Okay. Big Trouble in Little China. I love that movie. I don't know. I don't know what Kurt Russell's just so charming to me. And when Kurt Russell and John Carpenter are together, it's just magic. And I love that it can be magic with so many different tones. Like, you know, The Thing doesn't feel like Big Trouble in Little China. Big Trouble in Little China doesn't feel like Escape from New York. I mean, I guess there's like a certain look that maybe feels like it, but it's, you know, Jack Burton is not like Snake Plissken. Yeah, I really dig what those guys did together. It would be really cool to see them work one more time together. I know John just wants to play Xbox and not direct anything anymore, but it would be really cool to see those guys do one more thing together, even if it's just, I don't know, even if it's just a short film. Give me a Loomis short film. Eli says I have the last big box set of Tales from the Crypt complete series on DVD. I think I've seen that one. It's like just the thick all-in-one kind of thing. I really like how they did it, like the box sets that you sent me or the seasons you sent me, Eli, that just have that, you know, they look like a comic book. I really dig that. It looks like a, you know, like an anthology set of comic books. It's a thing. Yeah, that movie. Oh my God. I have to check it out. I put it up in my search bar. So instead of asking everyone to send me DMs, I just bring up a search bar and look it up. So I've got that Sharkensaw Women's Prison Massacre. Guys, it gets 1.5 stars. And on IMDb, it's a 3.1 out of 10. So, you know, maybe it'll be pretty okay. Holy crap, Nicholas, 37 likes. That's bonkers. Thank you guys so much. Raymond says, I think sci-fi has a lot of fun, cheesy shark movies. Toxic Shark is another goofy one. That is, man, you could start your own YouTube channel and only cover shark movies. That could be its own thing right there. And you could do a YouTube channel and only do like cheesy sci-fi movies. Movie that's underrated. Oh, there's so many, right? Underrated is one of those words. It's like, sometimes I feel bad for using it because I know a lot of people are like, what the hell does that mean? And it's like, I guess you sort of mean like underappreciated, or you just don't hear people like, you know, talking about it as if it's, you know, foundational or really important or anything like that. I'm trying to think of one that I just don't always bring up all the time here, Prince. I'm always talking about The Changeling from 1980 with George C. Scott. Not to say that it's underappreciated, but I still think it's a movie that's like gaining fandom, and I think it's one of the best slow burn haunted house movies. And to lean in on that same theme, I've been talking about 2015's We Are Still Here. That's another good slow burn haunted house movie. And if you guys didn't see earlier today, a video dropped from the Twisted Locker, and we covered hidden gem horror. So each myself and then Curtis and Steven from the Twisted Locker, we each picked two movies. So one of my movies was We Are Still Here from 2015, and the other film that I picked is a film that a lot of people know by name, but I don't see many people talking about it. And it's called Peeping Tom from 1960. It is an incredibly effective, early slasher, one of the first films to ever show like a killer point of view. They certainly do it in a really creative way in Peeping Tom. And that's all I'll say here. I encourage you to go check out Twisted Locker's YouTube channel. Give them a sub if you haven't already, and check out the video where you can hear my full thoughts there. But yeah, even though everyone knows about Peeping Tom, I hardly hear anyone really talking about it in any depth, Prince. So I'll go with that. Movie that's giving you your much needed serotonin boost. Oh, like a movie I watch when I want to feel good. That'll be Fletch. Fletch will be that movie for me. I love the very first Fletch movie with Chevy Chase. Jamie says, I have the Evil Dead box set. I had to get it. Evil Dead is one of my favorite franchises. Probably number 3 for me. Yeah, Jamie, it's one of my favorite as well. It's probably second to Halloween for me. Michael is my guy. But I do think the Evil Dead franchise is more solid than Halloween. There's just something about, the time that I stumbled upon Halloween, and I just think Michael is so great. But I don't have that box set. I have all the movies on Blu-ray. I thought about getting the box set, and it just came at a time where I had to make, like Frank and I were talking about earlier, you have to make some decisions about how you're going to spend your money and what's responsible. And sometimes you're like, well, I already spent this much on this kind of stuff, so I guess I'm going to have to miss this one for now. Gavin rated it 3 stars. Not as good as Demon Knight, but a fun. Yeah, definitely not as good as Demon Knight. Demon Knight is really good. Yeah. I guess I didn't expect much from Bordello of Blood. And just like had a good time with it. But yeah, Demon Knight is way more moody, way more atmospheric. Talk about some William Sadler. Love me some William Sadler. He's great. Eli's got that box set as well. Loves Evil Dead. I love it. Hell yeah, Prince. Thank you so much. I got to get more active on Letterboxd, guys. I was active like right when I started the channel, and then man, just running the channel and keeping your life going is a lot of work. So not nearly as active on Letterboxd as I should be for sure. But yeah, if you find me on Insta, Twitter, if you follow me here, you'll get all of my wacky ass opinions and all that kind of stuff. Flogging Molly comes to mind with pub rock. Yeah, and I think of like 80s, like 70s and 80s, like kind of punk rocky sort of stuff that never really broke out. But yeah, certainly pub rock is like something that, a modern band could absolutely say, hey, we're pub rock. Like it is. Yeah. Flogging Molly, Dropkick Murphys. I even think like Stiff Little Fingers. I think they're 70s Irish band. Love Stiff Little Fingers. They kind of have that vibe a little bit too. A little bit of folksy edge mixed in with the punk. Prince, any vinyl recommendations? Any artists? I'm open to all genres. Yeah, you know what I've been looking for lately? So usually what I do is I think about, I'm a huge music guy, Prince. That's my favorite thing in the world. Played music growing up, just a diehard fan. It's one of the things that like brings me peace and happiness and all that kind of stuff. I adore movies. And movies are easier to talk about on YouTube because with music, as soon as you start showing off the music, you're struck and totally screwed. So you can talk about it, but you can't even it's difficult to show it off. Like at least with movies, I can show you still images or, run video and all that kind of stuff. But I would say, so what I usually do is I think of an album that I love the warm sound of the production. And then I'm like, I want to get that on vinyl because I want to hear that warmth in the best form of the media. So something like, Fashion Nugget by Cake was one that I sought out for a really long time. Evil Empire by Rage Against the Machine. That was one that I knew I had to have on vinyl because it just sounds, it's such a warm sounding record. So I wanted to hear it, you know, in the optimal, on the optimal form of the media. And I don't know, you know, I really dig like all the John Carpenter stuff, the Lost Themes records. And one of my favorites though is I have a couple live records from the band. Now, if you guys don't know who the band is, I'm sure you would recognize a couple of their songs, right? Because they in their time, I don't think they found the success that they have now. And, you know, they were Bob Dylan's backup band for a little bit, but they wrote their own songs and everything. I'm sure you've heard like Cripple Creek and like The Weight and stuff like that. Those are their two biggest songs. But I've got some live records of theirs. There's one called Rock of Ages. And I know everyone knows The Last Waltz, and The Last Waltz is absolutely amazing. They bring in all sorts of guest musicians and singers. You know, all their friends and everything come out and play with them. It was the last hurrah that they had. I believe it was out in San Francisco just before they broke up. But Rock of Ages is really cool because it's earlier in their career, and the band is just absolutely fantastic live. I love their recorded stuff. It's great. The songs are awesome. I just get a bigger kick out of listening to them live. Nicholas says, Davey, I disagree with you. Alice in Wonderland by Tim Burton is fun and one of the only Disney remakes I like, but everyone has their own opinion. Yeah. I mean, maybe if I watched the whole thing, I would have felt differently. It just wasn't like going into it. The way they started it wasn't a good start. So I bailed. It does need more love, Jamie. Yep. I know exactly the project you're talking about. I can definitely see what he's going for with the vampire vibes. Yeah. Chad reached out to me about that one, and maybe we'll put a little something fun together for that. Vampires needs a 4K, so it doesn't yet. So its anniversary coming up. Maybe it'll get one here in the next year. Stephen King's The Night Flyer. I have yet to see that one. 4K vampires would be awesome. Hell yeah. My 4 favorite films, Prince. Ooh. I don't know if I can rank them. I'll say Jaws. God, this is really tough. Really tough. I can only pick 4. Really putting me in a spot here now. I would say Jaws. I'm gonna put Fletch in there because it's that or Caddyshack are like my favorite comedies. Man, it's really tough to pick 4. Let's throw Halloween in there. And then let me go a little even further back, and I'll say Network. So I'll do Jaws, Fletch, Halloween, and Network. How about that? Holy cow, guys. It's 9:45 my time. It is getting late. I have got to log off here because it's a school night for Davey. I'm sure it's a school night for all of you as well. Slumber Party Massacre remake was a sci-fi movie that was really good. I've yet to see that one. I do really like the original. Eli says you should see how many shark, crocodile, and alligator movies I have. I bet, man. See, you should seriously have start an Insta just to show off your collection. It would be great. It would be great, man. It'd be cool. Yeah, Peeping Tom, Criterion. I need to get a copy of it. You can watch, guys. You can watch Peeping Tom on Tubi. I know you have to watch commercials and everything, but if you've not seen Peeping Tom, give it a watch, especially if you like slashers. I do not think you'll be disappointed. Oh yeah, I like names with the Z though, Cortez, because Eli. Well, Cortez, your name has a Z in it. But I love the crazy names. It makes me feel like we're talking, you know, because all those monster movies with the alligator, sharks, octopus, all that kind of stuff, they are sort of like the new metal of that genre of music. So when I see the Z at the end, I think of new metal. I don't know why. There you are. But I like that. I like that. There we go. There it is. Prince says a one and done watch for you. Like one and done because I didn't like it, or one and done because it was just so good and impactful. Which one, Prince? Which one? Zombieland. Zombieland is a watch along. Okay, I'm gonna put together a poll. So we'll let you decide what I'll watch here on Saturday. Yeah, everyone, it is really fun. Yeah, it's a really great movie. Never seen Peeping Tom, Davey. Is it like a Hitchcock movie? Kind of, and it came out a month before Psycho. It had a really short run in the theaters. It was not well received by folks because of the themes in it, but I think it's really good. I might prefer it to Psycho. I mean, I think Hitchcock has a lot of his other movies are way better than Psycho. That's not to say that I don't think Psycho's good. It's just that that's how good Hitchcock is, that I think a lot of his other movies are better than Psycho. But yeah, similar. There are some similar vibes for sure. Awesome. Thank you so much for the follow over there. Raymond's on Letterbox as well. Been neglecting my Letterbox lately. I know, me too. Me too. It's terrible. Prince, the origin behind my YouTube channel name. So I played music for a really long time, and I played in a band called Deathray. We played like pop punk kind of stuff. I mean, some of the punk was like more skate punk, but we weren't like hardcore or anything like that. Pretty melodic. And yeah, so we were called Deathray, and we all picked stage names. And since I was like the founding member of the band, I was like, well, I'll be Davey Deathray. I never had gone by Davey in my life. It just seemed like it's easier to say Davey Deathray than David Deathray or Dave Deathray. So it just had more of a ring to it. So when I decided to start a YouTube channel, I was like, well, I'll just roll with that stage name. Kind of fits what I want to talk about anyways. And it's something that, you know, people around me have known me by that moniker for going on 20 years now almost. So yeah, there it is. Fletch is hilarious. It's amazing. Raymond just logged his 600th movie of the year. That's incredible. Yeah, me too, Jamie. Hell yeah, Prince. Singer-songwriter. Yeah. What are you into? What's a lyric that always hit you the most? Deep cut. That's very difficult thing to answer on a live stream because I'd have to sit here in silence and concentrate. I'm trying to think if something stands out to me right now. You know, there's a Megadeth lyric. I really love Megadeth. I mean, I love all sorts of stuff. The first thing that popped into my head is a Megadeth lyric. It doesn't like hit me the most, but I think it's like a lot of truth like packed into one chorus, and it's from a song called Architecture of Aggression off the album Countdown to Extinction. And it's great nations built from the bones of the dead with mud and straw, blood and sweat. You know your worth when your enemies praise your architecture of aggression. And I think it says something about the way that countries are built and the way that civilization came to the earth and all that kind of stuff. So pretty profound, I think, a little bit there. Eli wants Requiem for a Dream on vinyl or John Carpenter's new. Yeah. I think, did I end up getting, I haven't bought the new Carpenter vinyl yet, but I have his first, what is it? 3 Lost Themes, I think. Yeah. Don't work, live alone, and don't get out much. So I spend a lot of time watching movies. There it is, Raymond. Yeah, 600. That's awesome, though. I mean, you know, you're doing something with that time. You're not just sitting there staring at a wall. If movies bring you joy, then hell yeah, man. I am such a hippie. Prince would recommend Give Me Fiction by the band Spoon. I remember Spoon. I think, did they break out in the early or late 90s, I think? I don't know. That's a tough one. I really love Nevermind the Bollocks. Here's the Sex Pistols. I think that record's really damn good. I think it's better than a lot of the Ramones records I've listened to, but I really love Leave Home and Rocket to Russia, Road to Ruin. I would say Ramones probably have it over the Sex Pistols if I'm just going for quality, a mix of quality and quantity. Yeah, I don't think you're missing much, Nicholas. I don't think Bob Dylan's very good, man. Honestly, I don't know. I know I'm an outlier. I don't dig the whole, you know, poet that can't sing thing. I'm not into that. Scream Factory has a good release of it, but 4K would be great. I'm talking about vampires. Yep. Oh, Jamie likes Alice in Wonderland as well. Maybe I'm missing that one. Yeah, Network's really good. I love Network. It's so impressive. The writing in Network is so impressive. Like, you want to know how to write a good script? Like, put on Network, study that shit, because that is one of the most impressive scripts I've ever seen. 2 people got Academy Award nominations, and one of them won. and they both have like less than 5 minutes in the movie. It's absolutely incredible. And it was the first time that an actor ever won an Academy Award posthumously. William Holden, I believe, won the Academy Award after he had passed away. 12 noon in the Philippines. All right, Prince. 12 noon. Heck yeah. Fell asleep halfway through Slumber Party remake. Never had the desire to finish it. Scooby Tooby Doo. There it is. Thank you, Eli, for hanging out. Really appreciate you, man. Take care. Have a great night. Showing some love for Network. There it is. One and done because I didn't like it. I mean, it's probably a lot of movies, right? I'm trying to think here. Something that I didn't like. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen something where I'm like, I'm absolutely not going to watch that again. I don't know. That's a tough one. Like, Abigail is one of those movies I'm kind of lukewarm about. I don't know if I would ever watch that again, but it's not like I didn't like it. It's just that it was like, you know, I'm trying to think of one that I would just like not ever watch again. And you know, live stream sometimes messes with you. I like Psycho 2 more than the original personally. Yeah, I can totally understand that. Yeah, we're not active anymore, Prince, but it was a fun run. All right. The Infinite Character is my stage name, by the way. Oh, hell yeah. The Infinite Character. Just like the variant Tony Stark there playing Dr. Doom. Emo head. So MCR is my biggest inspiration. My wife really loves My Chem, and she's gotten me into them. They're really I really like the, you know, the musical theater kind of aspect of it. Their songs are just so big and grandiose, kind of like Queen. I really love that. I love that about them for sure. Genre is emo, synth pop, indie. Okay, I love synth pop. I listen to a lot of stuff that would be considered emo. Like, I'm a big Saves the Day guy. They're one of my favorite bands of all time. I don't know if Motion City Soundtrack would be considered emo. They probably would by a lot of people. I really like them. They're not really synth pop, but they got those you know, those keyboards going on. T. Parker Evans, what's happening, bud? He says this month is packed with horror. Trap, Alien Romulus, Cuckoo, Stream, Strange Darling, and Afraid. I know there's so much going on. It's going to be tough to keep up. Hot take, Bob Dylan. Yeah. Hey, it doesn't take anything away from his success, and I try not to be mean about it. I've tried numerous times to get into Bob Dylan. It's like I can't get into Radiohead either. There's just some artists that just don't do it for me. I don't know. It's been a while since I listened to Man in the Mirror, Nicholas, but I do, you know, I think it's a good song. The last time I heard it, you know, it's a good little, I think it's for somebody like Michael Jackson to do a song like that. I think it's pretty powerful stuff. And, you know, especially when you think about the pop music we have nowadays, that's like, screw you, I'm perfect. Like, why aren't you doing more for me? It just seems like the theme is a little more, it's like less reflective, and I don't mean that in the sense of a mirror, but like literally, like, you know, look at yourself and what can you do about yourself that could make the world better. Doesn't really seem to be a theme that goes on in pop music, or at least if it's going on in pop music, I'm totally missing it. Yeah, it is late, Chris. I'm definitely losing steam because, you know, as I said, I wasn't feeling so hot earlier in the day and last night, so I'm feeling the train you know, coming to a screeching halt here. Couldn't pay me enough to watch The Nun again. Oh yeah, maybe I need to think of like a bad horror movie that I've seen recently. I'm having a tough time. Thinking of it. Skinamarink is definitely one of my one and done. There you go. Love My Chemical Romance, huge staple. Yeah, really good music, man. Fun stuff. There you go. More hate for Skinamarink. Prince says My Chem was his introduction to music. That's awesome. Love the Black Parade. Hey, how can you not, right? T. Parker really enjoyed The Nun. All right. Minus the writing, I find it to be a good film, especially the atmosphere, aesthetics, sets, and score. Okay. Jigsaw sings a lot of Bob Dylan songs, and he does a great job. He probably has a better voice. I've heard him sing on I've seen videos on YouTube. It's a pretty cool little thing going on. And I saw the other night, we've been rewatching Seinfeld. He's got you know, a cameo in one of those episodes, as I'm sure you know all about, Chris, but it's just really cool to see Tobin Bell in Seinfeld. It's wild. Skinamarink is the movie I wouldn't recommend to my worst enemy. Damn. The first movie I ever saw, first movie in cinema, I don't know. I don't know. Jaws was probably one of the first movies I ever saw. Oh, Nicholas likes Skinamarink. All right. Didn't bother with it. Yeah, I haven't seen it. MCR has a Pink Floyd thing going. Yeah, I really get that like whole operatic kind of thing for sure. I think part of that also is having Rob Cavallo be your producer. Like he really brings, you know, great sounds out. You know, he worked with Green Day for a really long time. I don't know if he still does, but I know he was there for like a bulk of their career. You can hear a little bit of that he brings over to My Chem as well. The record store. We got Al Jolson. Oh, love it. Love it. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh gosh, when did we disband? I don't know, man. 2012, 2013, something like that. It's been a while. All right, guys, I'm all caught up on the chat, and holy cow, it is 10 p.m. out here in the blistering desert heat of Phoenix, Arizona. Let me get you guys at an updated temperature here. It says 92. It is 92 right now. But what's the real feel? It says feels like 88. Okay. Looks like we might get some rain in the early morning. That's excellent. All right. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for hanging out here for another episode of Late Night with the Davey. Late Night with the Davey. Something like that. Yeah, you guys have been awesome all night. Really appreciate Frank from Frank's Media and Reviews stopping by for a chat. Guys, there's links in the description below if you want to check out his channel, his Insta, and his Twitter. Please do that. And don't forget that live stream he's doing here on Monday, the 5th. You're going to want to check that out. So go sub over at his channel if you haven't already so you can check it out. And yeah, guys, I'll be back. Let's see here. I'll be dropping that Tales from the Crypt here tomorrow. I've got something dropping on Friday. It's actually just a replay of our tier ranking of the Friday the 13th series that should be fun for all you new folks that haven't seen that, or if you just missed it during the live stream a few weeks back. And then I'll put out a poll and we'll figure out a movie to watch on Saturday together. Looking forward to that, guys. Thank you all so much for hanging out. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Drop a comment if you're watching this after the fact. It certainly does go a long way. And yeah, guys, until next time, I've been and will continue being Davey Deathray. Take care.